News Radio 103.9 FM.
Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff rallies for Vice President Kamala Harris at Sharon Baptist Church in West Philly. Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio campaigns in Delaware County. Thomas Jefferson University and the Community College of Philadelphia partner up, offering academic opportunities and reduced tuition.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
The YMCA is just a starting line. For the true self blooms only when we find our purpose, what makes us tick below the surface. My why is diversity in unity, a safe space in my community, living with sincerity, giving every day my everything. With my why, I stand strong, seen and supported all along. It's a million faces in a mirror and everyone belongs. Find your why. Learn more at ymca.org. For a better us.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
At PGW, safety is essential to delivering clean, reliable natural gas to Philadelphia homes and businesses. If you smell gas, call PGW at 215-235-1212.
This is Dr. Marianne Ritchie. Tune in to Your Radio Doctor every Saturday afternoon at 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT for the latest healthcare news and information, because your health is your wealth. That's Your Radio Doctor, Saturdays at 5.
Woohoo! Another girls' night out.
I'm so stressed from shopping, I couldn't find anything.
Have you tried shopping jewelry television, JTV?
I don't know. Everyone in my family is so different.
JTV has thousands of jewelry styles, artisan, diamonds, pearls, colored gemstones, watches, even gift sets. I shop on TV and online.
New JTV customers save up to $40 when you shop jtv.com/radio.
Now, can you relax?
Yes. Another round?
Yes.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Matt Rooney. On Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Is Tide media code for Trump is ahead and they just can't bring themselves to say it? I have my suspicions. One of many questions, too, that we need to unpack in just the 3 hours we have left of the Matt Rooney Show here on 1210 WPHT. Before Sunday is over, Monday dawns, and we only have hours left to go before election 2024. Thank you for joining us this evening, ladies and gents, across the Delaware Valley and wherever you may be listening tonight. Are you excited? It's almost election eve, Daniel. Woo. You have to leave your milk and cookies out for the poll workers.
Yeah, I can't wait for this election to be over.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
And I obviously made fun of you for saying that, because that's what I do. I make fun of you. But I understand what you're saying. I don't know how much more my nerves can take.
I'm just sick and tired of getting all the random text messages and random ads, and I'm just like, that's all it had. Like, for the last couple, however many months, it's just been Kamala this, Trump this, Kamala this, Trump this. Oh, here's Bob Casey, by the way. Forget about Dave McCormick. Here's ads about that. It's just like, let me go back to my football, man.
See, you are that pain in the keister voter that campaigns spend gazillions of dollars trying to reach.
And I don't care.
And you don't want to be reached.
No. I
Dan
don't
doesn't really like people all that much. He likes Bella. He's got some complicated feelings for me, and that's about it.
Here's how I feel. I think people are just stupid. I think people are just dumb.
Starting out tonight on an optimistic note.
So, like, it's not that I don't like you.
Hey, America, you're stupid.
It's not that I don't like you. I just think people are stupid.
You are such a pleasant individual.
Aw.
Just a Just a real peach to be around. We're going to try to make it more uplifting from here, because I think we have a lot to be excited about, but I don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
855-839-1210. That's the number here at the Matt Rooney Show. Over on YouTube, on the interwebs, youtube.com/@1210WPHT if you want to confirm that I am indeed as handsome as I sound. Spoiler alert.
Not really.
Exactly what you imagined. No.
No, I thought we we
No.
were going two different ways.
Nope.
Sorry.
Don't be doing that.
Let me rephrase that. You are looking mighty stunning tonight.
Be careful. Be careful. Tim Walz will call you gay. We have that clip in the stack.
Who cares about Tim Walz?
That's the point of the election we're getting to. They talk about silly season. Tim Walz, the man that wants to be the next vice president of the United States, calling a gazillionaire.
Here's the thing about Tim. Here's the thing about Tim Walz. Me and Tim Walz got beef, or Tim Walz and I got beef.
You got beef?
I have not heard a single thing that he plans to run on. All I've heard about him is being how he's a cool uncle and how he's a cool dad and how he's just roasting and insulting his opponent. Give me some structure, man. Like, give me some policy. Don't just be like, oh, Elon Musk is gay.
No, there's been none of that. I listened to
there's
some
none
of
of it.
Kamala's rallying tonight. She's not in PA tonight. Her final 3 rallies are going to be in Pennsylvania. And I listened in, and I probably got about 20, 25 minutes of it on the way over. And, of course, I lost some of my brain. Part of my brain died and is now just a dark spot if you did an MRI from having listened to Kamala for that long. 25 minutes, I don't think there was a single policy prescription. Just word salad, feel-good fluff.
Yeah, people are still going to buy it.
Some will.
Yep.
We'll find out soon enough whether or not that number is 50 plus 1. I don't think so, but we'll get into that more this evening. But listen, we're going to jump right in this evening. We got 3 guests. I'm going to work in alternate order here, backwards order for a reason, because we already have one on the line. In the final hour of tonight's program, we're going to be joined by the candidate for Washington Township Mayor, Washington Township, New Jersey, Anthony Delpia. This is the hot local race on the Jersey side of the Delaware. I want to get a little PA, a little bit of Jersey tonight, right? Got to get some Jersey love because I live in the dirty Jersey. It's a big race with consequences well beyond South Jersey, and we're going to talk about why that's the case. Next hour, right? So this is the middle hour I'm talking about now. Try to keep up with me. We're going to be joined by Dave McCormick. You may have heard of him. He's one of those guys spamming Dan that Dan's tired of hearing from. He's getting the mail. He's getting the videos. He's getting
the least that I've heard from.
And it's been good stuff.
Yeah.
Generally good stuff he's putting out there. Of course, U.S. Senate candidate in the great state of Pennsylvania. He's going to join us in the second hour. And then right now on the line, we have a guy that I know you've seen on various cable networks. He is one of the right-hand men for President Donald Trump. He is an author. He is a thinker. And he currently serves as a senior advisor to the Trump campaign, Tim Murtaugh, who joins us right now on the Matt Rooney Show. We know you've got a few things going on tonight, Tim, so we really appreciate you making time for us, especially with our Pennsylvania audience.
Well, I appreciate that, Matt. I'm a Delco native, as a matter of fact, so I love being on WPHT, and because I went to Ridley High School in Delaware County and also Temple University, class of 1991. So I'm definitely a Philadelphia guy, Delaware Valley guy, and watching the Eagles right now trying to hang on against the Jaguars, as a matter of fact.
And they're doing an okay job. They're doing an okay job right now. We'll see how that ends up. I'll be honest with you. As much as I'm a Birds guy, go Birds. No. With this election going on, it's tough to have a divided allegiance. Not that these things are mutually exclusive, but I'm just so myopically focused. I'm going to give the Eagles my love again in about 48 hours, hopefully.
Yeah,
I just can't
understand what you're saying. Yeah, I'm here. I'm at the campaign headquarters in West Palm Beach. Well, at the office right now, and still manage to have the game on in the background. So I appreciate it. You can. We're multitasking here. We can do that at the Trump campaign.
It's full. Well, right, and you can't always say that of your opponents, can you? Especially the head of that ticket.
No, you can't always say that, and we've always really liked the way that this campaign shaped up because everyone who's going to vote in this election has lived through both administrations. People remember the Trump years. The economy was great. There was no inflation. Our southern border with Mexico was secure, and the world was largely at peace. Under Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, the economy, of course, is in shambles. Inflation is still through the roof. Heck, a gallon of milk costs about $7 in a lot of places. The southern border has been effectively erased, and there's illegal aliens streaming across by the tens of thousands every day. And the world is on fire. So everyone has lived through both of those things. We think it's a very strong contrast. We think it's an easy choice. And that's why our closing message boils down to this. It's very simple. Kamala Harris broke it. Donald Trump will fix it. And that's it.
Yeah, and I got a lot of that this weekend when I was knocking doors. I crossed the river, reversed George Washington, headed over to Pennsylvania, south of Trenton. I landed over in Delaware County, your old stomping grounds. I was in Broomall, going door to door with a bunch of canvassers, great people that want to see Donald Trump succeed on Tuesday. I will tell you, I did not see any overconfidence. Everyone's warning us that Republicans may be counting their chickens here before they hatch. I didn't get that vibe. Everyone is acting like this election is as important as we know it is. Here's one of my questions for you, Tim. If there are any Trump supporters out there tonight who think this thing is in the bag, what is your message for them?
Well, they obviously should not think it's in the bag. I would say this, we like our position better than they probably like their position, and I would 100 times out of 100, I would rather be in Donald Trump's position than Kamala Harris's position, and I believe they think the same thing. However, this is a razor-thin election. It is absolutely going to be very close. You know, it's not one big national election. Everybody knows this. It's a series of 50 different state elections. And one way or another, one of these battleground states could very easily tilt one way or the other, depending on who actually comes out to the polls on Tuesday. Now, we like the way the early voting and the absentee voting by mail has shaped up. And in fact, in states like Arizona and Nevada and North Carolina, we're actually ahead of the Democrats, and that has never occurred in any of those states for the Republicans to be leading the Democrats in the early voting numbers. All that is really great news. But those leads can be wiped out if our folks don't turn out on Tuesday. In Pennsylvania, you know, the Democrats do have an edge in the early voting numbers, but it's not as big as they would, what they like to call a firewall. It's not as big a firewall as they would like in order to be able to hold off the election day vote that we hope is coming. That scenario does not result in a Trump victory if people don't come out to the polls on Tuesday and vote on Election Day. That's why the door knocking is so important. This election could absolutely go either way. It absolutely could. However, we do believe that the wind is on our back. We believe that Donald Trump is ahead right now, but Tuesday's the big day. You actually have to execute. Polls are only theoretical election results. Polls don't win elections. Votes do, and that's what's happening on Tuesday.
You're right. And one poll, even though we have to take them all with a grain of salt, especially when it comes from a legacy media outlet, it might illustrate exactly what you're talking about, Tim. This was NBC's poll today, which said there was a tie. Already voted, Harris +7. Vote on Election Day, Trump +16. Now, of course, that's national, right? I think, as you just said, he's doing much better in the battleground states from what we can tell. Something else, Tim, that we've heard a lot about from the media in recent days is the gender gap. And it seems to vary depending upon which pollster you talk to. Rasmussen's latest survey, Mark Mitchell, our friend who's been on the program before, I think his most recent poll put it about +4. Some of these lefty-leaning outlets have a double-digit margin. Do you get the sense that Donald Trump is performing well with women and that gap is going to at least be small enough where he's going to be able to succeed on Election Day?
Yeah, we do. And because we think, women care about a lot of the same things that men do. Women care that the economy is good. Women care that they're going to be able to afford to put gas in the car, food on the table, and pay the rent or mortgage. Women care that their neighborhoods are safe. If you look at the cases of various young women from around the country, a number of them, Laken Riley is probably the most famous case, the young lady at the University of Georgia who was murdered by an illegal alien who had crossed the border under Kamala Harris's lax border enforcement policies. Women care about the same things that men do in many cases. And so I do think Donald Trump is going to do quite well, contrary to what the left would like us to think, and the media, of course. But what they never talk about is that Donald Trump is doing better among women voters than Kamala Harris is doing among men. Right. There is another gender gap in this election, and it's the male gender gap that Kamala Harris is dealing with, and she is further behind Donald Trump in men voters than Donald Trump is behind her in women voters. And that's why you see people, I disagree. I heard your earlier conversation. I disagree that Tim Walz is depicted as the cool uncle or the cool dad. He's an incredible goofball. They tried to recruit male voters to his cause by having him play Madden football on Twitch online with AOC the other day, and they did it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday, opposite real football.
That is the only rule of door knocking.
Video games with AOC, thinking that guys are going to watch him do that. What a ridiculous! That's not how you attract male voters. My gosh. So we think that Donald Trump is going to do well with women, and we know that there are many reasons why Kamala Harris is not going to do well at all with male voters.
I don't care if the Chinese army is rolling down my street in tanks. You do not knock on my door during an Eagles game. I'm only here right now because this is my job, right? I have to be here. We've got this election to win, a republic to save. So I agree with you. You got to take everything producer Dan says with just a grain of salt, Tim. That's what you learn when you visit us here on this program.
Yeah, I guess my opinion just doesn't matter on this show.
No, it matters because we want you to vote. You are exactly the archetype of who the campaign needs, but I still have to put you in place.
We definitely need to reach those guys. You got to go vote on Tuesday.
Oh, I had plans on it. Yeah, we're going.
Okay.
We're going. Don't worry.
But that makes the other point. Young men don't vote until the last minute. We're procrastinators.
Oh, I hear you on that. Yeah. I mean, we think, generally speaking, Trump voters like to vote in person. We've been very much encouraging people to vote early or absentee by mail if that's what they would rather do. But in-person voting is what a lot of people like to do. So, whatever method you choose, by all means, the bottom line is you got to vote. But if I could say, I heard you mention Dave McCormick there a couple of times. Great, just a really great Senate candidate, and we believe he's going to win Pennsylvania, too.
He'll be on in about an hour. We're very excited to chat with him again.
Yeah, he's going to be a great guest for you. And, rather than talk about polls, I think it's often much more instructive to actually watch the behavior of people, and that will tell you what's actually happening on the ground in certain states. Pennsylvania is one of those states, and what they call the blue wall, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. You have 3 Democrat candidates for the U.S. Senate. Bob Casey in Pennsylvania, of course, he is the incumbent. You have Alyssa Slotkin, who's a House member running for the Senate in Michigan, and Tammy Baldwin, who's another incumbent running for re-election in Wisconsin. All 3 of those Democrats share the ballot with Kamala Harris on Tuesday. They are Democrats running on the same ticket as her in those 3 states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. All 3 of them are right now running television ads in which they feature Donald Trump in a positive light, and they brag about how they agreed with and worked with Donald Trump on certain key issues since they've been in Slotkin's cases in the House, but also Casey and Baldwin in the Senate. They are spending Democrat donor money on television ads that promote Donald Trump and stay away from Kamala Harris, with whom they share the ballot on Tuesday. If that doesn't tell you what those 3 statewide Democrats think is happening in their states, then nothing will. That is tangible proof that they think Donald Trump is winning their states.
When your own friends won't stand by you, it tells the full story. And, I mean, one more quick point, because I think it ties all of this together, Tim, the gender gap, what the behavior is on the actual street in these races. All of these Democrat Senate campaigns seem to be suffering because of the women sports issue, protecting female sports, allowing girls to have a sport without having to compete with trans men or whatever they're called. It changes from day to day. It seems like that issue is being used to great effect. I've heard the president use those lines and to invoke this topic multiple times in his rallies down the close. I'm not asking you to tell us any internal polling data, but I suspect that you guys must be seeing something out there that issue has some potency.
Oh, sure. It's a very potent issue because it's important, and it's also just common sense. I mean, we saw that at the University of Pennsylvania with the swimmer, and how you cannot have biological males playing sports, organized sports, against women. It's just a physical imbalance, and women can get hurt. Riley Gaines has become a very prominent figure in talking about this, another college swimmer, where it's a question of fairness, and it's also a question of safety. And then you also have, biologically intact males trying to go in there and change into their sports clothes in the women's locker room. It's just insanity, and no one can possibly defend this with a straight face. And then if you take it a step further, and another issue sort of in the same vein here, Kamala Harris 100% agrees that the taxpayers of America should pay for sex change operations for prison inmates and illegal aliens who are being detained. Can you imagine? That is such an outrageous position, outrageously radical position, that when Donald Trump said it in the debate in Philadelphia, a whole bunch of media outlets fact-checked him and said, no, that's false. They didn't even bother to check. They just thought it sounded so crazy it couldn't possibly be true. Time magazine was one of them who said this is false. But it's true. They just didn't bother to check it because it sounds so nuts. So, yes, it is a very potent issue because it's crazy. But, in fact, that's what the other side believes, and that's why we have to point it out to people. Like, you're not going to believe this. This is what they actually believe. Taxpayer-funded sex change operations for prison inmates? Are you insane?
Yeah, they are insane, right? That's the answer to the question. But look, I know it's anecdotal, but if my door knocking in Delco, your native land, this weekend showed me anything, it's that I think the people of Pennsylvania get it, and I suspect they're not alone. I think Americans across all 50 states get that Donald Trump is the clear answer here, and that Kamala Harris is a non-starter. Tim Murtaugh, everyone. He wears many hats, but he is a senior advisor to the campaign for President Trump. Tim, again, I said it at the beginning, we know how busy you are right now. There's a lot going on. We appreciate you making time for us. And please, if you get a chance, tell the president the people of this part of the world are pulling for him day and night.
Well, I certainly will do that. He's got a couple of stops in Pennsylvania tomorrow. He's going to be in Reading and then one more time in Pittsburgh on the other side of the state. So we got to have Pennsylvania. Tuesday's a big day. Everybody really needs to come out and vote. And if everyone does that, then it's going to be a wonderful Wednesday morning, I would say.
It's not a hard mission, folks. You heard it from the man himself. Tim Murtaugh, we really appreciate you joining us. We'll see you on the other side.
I appreciate it very much, Matt. Thank you.
You're listening to The Matt Rooney Show on 1210 WPHT. Quick timeout. Back with more in a moment.
See Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra at Newman Goretti High School in South Philly, Saturday, November 23rd. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. JoeConklin.com!
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Get your child or grandchild into the best position to have an outstanding school year. Now's the time to call Kathy Gannon, METC, to help your student. Call the Motivational Educational Tutoring Company. For over 30 years, METC's tutoring studio, founded by educator Kathy Gannon, has helped people of all ages to grow personally and academically. Call Kathy at 215-493-4200. METC offers motivational SAT prep, as well as academic skills and leadership training. 215-493-4200. Now's the time to get assistance for your child to help them succeed. Visit online at METC.com. Call METC's Tutoring Studio at 215-493-4200 or email Kathy directly at info@METC.com. Remember, 1210 listeners receive a free 1-hour consultation. Take advantage of this opportunity to help your child get one-on-one help. Call 215-493-4200, 215-493-4200.
Your 401k goes up and down. That's fine when you're 40, but not when you're 60. Find out how to protect your hard-earned money. Tune in to the Retirement Spectrum with Alan Cohen, Saturdays at 3 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our Timeshare Exit Information Kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121.
Free speech lives here on Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
I'm going to square with you people. I always do. I am way over caffeinated right now. I've had a cup of coffee from pretty much every chain that sells coffee today.
Have you tried drinking more caffeine?
Brilliant idea.
Yeah.
As I sit in here itching like an addict. Dude, this election thing has me stressed, right? Work is busy. First world problems mostly. But I have young children, and this whole time change situation that happens this time of year, they do not adapt well to it. They're little crazy people today. And they got up early. I think I was out of bed this morning at about 4:45-ish. Sounds right? So it's the only way I can execute my host duties this evening, to have an unhealthy amount of coffee. So if at any point during tonight's program I just glitch out, Dan, I don't know, you're just going to have to pick up the baton and carry it forward here.
Don't put that pressure on me. I don't do well under pressure. I mean, I kind of do, but like with radio stuff, no, I don't know what to talk about. You could leave and I'll be like, lovely weather we're having, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, right. Here is a word-by-word read of the transcript of the latest Batman movie.
I'll pull an Alec Baldwin and be like, do we have any callers? Where are the callers at? Come on, let's where are the callers at, you know?
Yeah. Well, you might get some people pitching in to help you. You're relatively popular with the Matt Rooney Show listening audience. They like you.
Is that what you think?
I think so. Yeah. When you left before, people were kind of sad. A few people were happy to see Twit Talk go away. Talked about that last week.
That's never going away. Well, it did for a year, but it's not. Now that I'm back, it's back.
And then you had to be maximally obnoxious when you came back. You made everybody's ears bleed last week
with my World War II.
Yeah. There was naughty words abounding,
which I did censor a lot today. I did double check them, triple check them,
double checked,
quadruple checked.
Well, my finger is on the dump button.
Good. I hope the clips that you sent aren't cursing because I didn't check those.
No, I made a point of doing that because I knew that I was going to bust your chops for it. So if I then sent you something with an F-bomb or something along those lines, then I would be a hypocrite.
Correct.
So I couldn't do that.
Can't look bad on you for doing it.
No, I'm the host. We have to make me look good.
Exactly.
Remember, youtube.com/@1210WPHT is where you can watch the show as well as listen. I know what a lot of people do. They sit in their living room, they get their coffee mug, they get all warm and cozy under a blanket, and they watch us on their smart TV. Sometimes that's more fun than just the radio. And Dan's back, so we've got the producer cam again, so you get to see him as well. Flash that thing. Let everybody know you're alive.
What am I flashing?
You're
Let's keep it PG now.
Well, no, I'm not talking about that kind of flashing, Daniel.
Okay.
This isn't a Democrat pep rally. I'm talking about the producer cam.
It's fine. This wasn't by
I'm just trying to demonstrate.
It wasn't by choice.
I'm demonstrating our technological capabilities.
It was not by choice. It was your doing that I had to respect.
To bring back the producer cam?
Well, not even that. When we started doing it, I was like, I don't know about it because I don't like being on camera at all. I like being behind. So
I get that, but it's a radio thing. People are curious what you look like. See, that's it.
That's fine.
And no one guesses that that's what you look like, by the way. You cannot tell you how many people I've run into. It happened to me this weekend. I was one of the speakers along with Nick Kale, of course, of our morning show, Kale and Company, 6 to 10 every weekday morning here at 1210. We were co-MCs of the Gloucester County Republican Get Out the Vote rally in Turnersville on Saturday, and there was hundreds of people there. And this is New Jersey. Now, granted, Gloucester County, much more purple than various other places in the Garden State. But you would have thought that you were in the reddest county in the reddest state in America, judging by the turnout for this thing. And Nick and I had a heck of a time, but people come up to you, and one of the number one questions that I would get in years past was,
Dan look like?
What does Dan look like? And then they see you, and they usually say something along the lines of,
he's so cute. He's so cute. You just want to crunch his little cheeks.
Oh, the crunch his little cheeks?
Yeah, you want to grab his little cheeks, pinch him. Aren't you a little cutie?
Well, look, I'm always happy that you have healthy self-esteem. We got that going for you.
My mommy says I'm cute.
Yeah, your mommy. But your mommy's a very nice person too.
Yeah.
But we had a heck of a time this weekend. Nick did a great job. I got up and did my thing. Curtis Bashal was there. He's the U.S. Senate candidate in New Jersey. We've had him on the program before. Everyone is fired up. I mentioned it when we were talking to Tim Murtaugh in the last segment, senior advisor to the Trump campaign. I know we should all be guarded against overconfidence. I am trying to keep myself in check because I have developed a strong opinion as to where I think this thing is at, but I don't think there's much concern. I think most Trump voters, supporters at this point would crawl across glass lit on fire in order to support this guy. And that's the vibe I get when I was going door to door in Broomall. I mentioned it in the last segment. We took a bus over of Jersey people. New Jersey invaded Delaware County for one afternoon, and we smacked a bunch of doors. And I know a couple of you actually direct messaged me because I posted a picture and you realized that I was in your neighborhood. So I'm sorry I didn't get to meet you. Don't take it personally. We were just trying to hit as many doors as we possibly could in as little time as possible because, spoiler alert, there's not too many hours left in this election. Got to get the job done. And I did not receive a single negative bit of feedback. I didn't have any negative encounters with any voters. Now, at this point in an election, the way the campaign structures it, you're not really trying to persuade anybody anymore to like Trump or not like Trump. I think everyone in this country has a baked-in opinion of Donald Trump. What you're trying to do is you're trying to identify people that are supporters, people that are likely to support, and you're trying to encourage them to go to the polls. Now, I've walked and knocked doors in a ton of states during the course of my adult life. 20 years ago, I was in Ohio knocking doors for George W. Bush and Dick Cheney, who, of course, is now a traitor. But that aside, we're not going to get into that at the moment. Back then, I remember having doors slammed in my face. Sometimes you'd knock on somebody's door standing on their porch, and they'd come out, and they'd love to see you, and they'd want to invite you in to have dinner, meet their daughter, and then other people would, threaten to shoot you unless you got off their stoop because they didn't like who you were canvassing for. Or maybe they're just a little misanthropic like young Daniel in here, and they don't want to talk to people that are soliciting, even if it's for a good cause. None of that in Delaware County. I think I saw 2 Harris signs. One was a cat lady for Harris sign. I don't know why anyone would think that's a good thing to brag about, but it was there. And I kid you not, there was a cat walking around on the lawn. I'm thinking that's the house in the neighborhood in Broomall that all the kids avoid for trick-or-treating. If she gives out candy at all, it's probably something really lame like peanuts. And, of course, when I say peanut, I don't want to trigger anybody. I'm not talking about our little squirrel friend that has gone to his maker up in New York. I'm sure you've been following that one closely, Dan.
No, I just found out about it last night.
You just found out about it last night?
Yeah.
We got some audio on that, too, today. It's just insane government overreach. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. Bottom line is, I do not want any of you thinking this thing is over, as Tim Murtaugh says. The game is still very much joined. Because we know that the only way that we are going to succeed in Pennsylvania and elsewhere, these other battleground states, Nevada, North Carolina, is if, as I've been telling you for months, we win outside of the margin of cheat. Some of you have questioned, and I saw some of this on social media, well, if Trump is all of a sudden maybe tied in New Hampshire, tied in Virginia, catching up in New Mexico, expanding the map, which may very well be happening, why is he spending his final weekend, his final hours of this race in North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Georgia? North Carolina and Georgia has been doing great in the early vote. Democrats are doing terribly. Here in Pennsylvania, there is a major turnout problem for the Democrats. Patrick Ruffini was writing about this over the weekend. They're on the verge of a turnout disaster here in Pennsylvania. They're just not voting. Why is Trump focusing on these states where he's probably ahead? I think he's just trying to lock it down, folks. I think he's playing it safe. I think that there's a lot of strategy here.
I got a question for you.
Shoot.
Say Trump loses again. Do you feel like he will claim voter fraud again, or do you think he'll just be like, you know what? It is what it is. And we'll do the whole exact thing that we did from 2020, or, are we just going to leave it and be like, you know what? I'm done.
Oh, I think the risk is more on the other side right now, my friend.
I'm just thinking hypothetical. If he loses, do you think he claims voter fraud? And if Harris loses, do you think she claims voter fraud? Either way, do you think whoever loses claims voter fraud?
Do I think whoever loses claims voter fraud?
Correct.
Well, look, here's part of the problem with our system. Part of the problem with our system is that even though we have the technological capability to know who the president is by the next morning, even though we're a country of 330, 340 million people, we have this ridiculous mail-in ballot system that have created the conditions where in places like, I'll give you an example, Maricopa County, Arizona, incredibly consequential in presidential elections because Arizona has turned into a battleground state. They're threatening that it could take days or weeks to get a final answer as to who carried the state of Arizona because these ballots come in, they slow count them. Even when there isn't fraud, it creates the perception of something crooked going on. So the best way to move on after this election, besides the actual absence of fraud, obviously, is if people had confidence that the counting was being done in a sane and transparent way. And that is one of the many reasons why we need to win outside the margin of fraud. Because as I was going to say, I think Donald Trump is also very wisely deciding that Pennsylvania, Georgia, and North Carolina, all in the Eastern time zone, right? If he can win them by an overwhelming margin and they get called before we get to Wednesday, it's going to make it very hard for the Harris campaign, Democrat attorneys, the mainstream media to try to drag this out any further. Because at that point, if he wins those three states, Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina, we want to win places like Nevada, but it's not going to matter.
I think Pennsylvania also said that they don't expect a winner until like Thursday or Friday. Josh Shapiro said it himself, which is ridiculous because we used to find out the winner literally election night.
Right.
And now we're waiting weeks, if not months after until we find out. So
Josh Shapiro should want this thing over quickly because then he can thump his chest and say that Kamala should have chosen me. She made a massive mistake. She decided to appease the anti-Semites in the Democrat Party, and it can get him towards the 2028 cycle a little bit quicker. So I don't know why he wants to drag this out. But look, he is a Democrat, right? So Josh Shapiro and his administration are not going to have a choice but to confirm a Trump victory in Pennsylvania if he wins by 2, 3, 4 points, which, if you look at the latest surveys, it's entirely possible, especially when you couple it with, as Tim Murtaugh talked about, the early vote data in Pennsylvania, which suggests that Democrats are running way behind where they were at this point in 2020. 855-839-1210, folks. Over on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Let's take a commercial time out, wet our whistles, stretch our legs, and we'll be back with more Matt Rooney Show in a sec.
Hey, it's Nick Cale. As part of our Veteran Spotlight program, we are asking you to nominate a local World War II veteran to be featured on our show the week of November 11th. Go to 1210WPHT.com to submit a photo and quick story of a local vet so that we can celebrate his or her remarkable commitment and exceptional service during World War II. Army, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, nurses, service pilots, medical staff, we want to hear your story. Visit 1210WPHT.com to submit your nomination. Veteran Spotlight is a partnership program with the Travis Manion Foundation presented by Window Nation. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com.
Got a roofing problem? Don't let it ruin your day.
Emmons Roofing and Siding offers professional roofing services, from repairs to complete lifetime warranted replacements.
And you can trust our experienced team to keep your home safe and secure. And we can even handle insurance claims for you.
Give us a call today at 856-885-6677 or visit us on the web at callemmons.com. From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
Don't miss the Labor and Energy Show with J-Doc and Krause, brought to you by Advocacy United, this Saturday night at 6. Find out about the important issues that'll affect you. The Labor and Energy Show, Saturday night at 6 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
We know you're uncertain about psychics. Is this fortune teller you found on a forum legit?
Your one true love is...
me!
That's why California Psychics reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. New customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Call Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
I got a direct message from one of our listeners. Matt, what is this thing you're talking about with Waltz calling Elon gay? I missed it. It happened. I'm not making this up. It wasn't a figment of my imagination. This is a rally. I think Waltz was in the Rust Belt somewhere. It's hard to keep track because they're all doing 15 rallies a day. It was Michigan. It was Michigan. And, yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. It's not ambiguous at all, even though Waltz was suggesting that Elon is ambiguous. Listen to this.
If you're a billionaire, Elon Musk, for example, say, that guy got it. Michigan knows that word. Look, that dude got a tax cut.
Michigan knows what word? The word gay? Everyone knows that word. What does Michigan have to do with it?
I have no idea. I have a hard time figuring this guy out. He's so creepy.
Hey, that gay guy, yeah, Michigan knows what I'm talking about. He basically just called everyone in Michigan, like, gay, because apparently people in Michigan know that word and we don't.
Yeah, no, it's a very specific, are they Michiganders, I think? Michigander term of art.
Michiganian?
Michiganians? I think they're Michiganders.
Sure.
I think so. I think that's what they are. Someone feel free to correct us in the YouTube chat if we're wrong about that. So Elon obviously had a lot of fun with that on X about Tim Walz calling him gay, which Elon Musk, of all the things to accuse him of, doesn't the guy have like a gazillion kids by 15 women or something like that? I'm exaggerating.
Elon Musk?
Yeah.
He has like 3?
No, he's got a bunch of kids.
He's got like 3 or 4.
He's got a bunch, and they're by different women.
No.
So the point is, if there's a lot of things that Elon Musk is. I don't think his
7.
7. There you go.
7. He's got 7. One of which is a trans.
His heterosexuality is not in question.
The man's getting around.
He's getting around. He gets around a little bit, probably in his Tesla. Right?
He's swanging a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, his trans kid is one of the reasons why Elon's become so politically engaged. That's why he rages against the woke mind virus.
Here's an article that I just saw the headline of. Elon Musk built a compound for his 11 children and their moms. Keeps offering friends and acquaintances. It's from Vanity Fair. So I guess he has 11. 12. Sorry, it just keeps going up at this point. Who are Elon Musk's kids? His 12 children's names, ages, and mothers. Soon it's going to be like 13.
Hey, listen.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time on this program. One of the reasons why I believe we will ultimately succeed is because Republicans have babies and Democrats, well, they kill their young. So, they parked a snip van outside of the DNC this year.
Do you want to go through the list of women that he has kids with?
Sure. So long as they're confirmed so we don't get sued.
Yeah. Justine Wilson. No idea who that is. Grimes. I know who that is. Siobhan Zillis. No idea. 3 of them.
Siobhan Zillis?
3? 4?
Oh, it looks like she is she's a Canadian.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a very pretty young lady.
So I guess he can't.
Got big eyes.
Can't really be gay.
No, I don't think he is.
Could, but like.
So I think Tim Walz was, and this is one of the many ironies of the situation, because he's supposed to be woke, hip. He's the cool dad, as you say. That's how they try to present him. Tim Murtaugh took issue with that characterization. So would I. But they try to present him as being hip, but I think he used it in the very unhip, traditional way that youngsters used the word gay in the 80s and 90s.
Happiness.
Well, no. Well, not the traditional way. The more recent, like, 80s, 90s way. It was a put-down, right? A way of saying somebody was girly. I think that's how Tim Walz was using it.
That's still how it's used today.
By some people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, cool. All right. Glad we figured that out. Let's go to the next topic.
Well, no, you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do.
He was using it in a very politically incorrect way, and he's supposed to be Mr. Political Correct.
Yeah, but there was no context to it. It was just like, oh, that gay guy. Like, what's the context of it?
I think that they're I think they're just getting nasty because they're probably losing. I think that's what's happening.
It's usually, like when.
And Elon's putting all this money on the street to turn out Republican voters, ballot chasing. He's doing it here in Pennsylvania with his America PAC. And I think they're doing it to great effect. It's part of the reason why you're seeing these tremendous pro-Republican early vote figures. So he's getting a little salty about it.
Oh, well. You know what they say.
What do they say?
I don't know.
I don't know. I immediately regretted asking.
Like when someone's mean to you, they like you. So I honestly think if Tim Walz is mean to Elon Musk, he might have a little small crush on him. That's all I'm going to say. Don't take me for that, but that's all I'm going to say. That's it.
That's interesting.
I think I'll do a wrap around.
You're damn right it's interesting.
Okay, all right. That's how they do it up there in Minnesota. It does get awfully cold.
Yeah. You need someone to cuddle with. It is cuffing season. You know what I mean?
855-839-1210. Those are our digits here on the Matt Rooney Show. Let's take one off the phone line here. Let's pull somebody out of line. This is Jerry from Jersey, I believe.
Yeah.
I like that. I like the alliteration. Jerry, you're on the Matt Rooney Show. What's happening?
Yeah, hi, Matt. Hello, guys. So I just look at 1, 2, 3, and I say, well, they have to be planning something, the highest level of the alphabet deep state for this election that's not going to be good. Now, can it be stopped? Maybe. Will they maybe give up if they think they can't win? It's like too much, a bridge too far to what they might have to do? Maybe. But here's the thing. Look at what they've done. 9 years, nonstop. First alphabet, FBI, fake Russian investigation. That's a coup attempt to take a sitting president down. Next, it's exposed, right? All the different agents that they're saying things, etc. Next thing, 2020, top-level CIA agents, right? And generals, top levels, signing things to protect Biden's son, saying it was fake. Great interference in the election. Strike 2. Strike 3, lawfare. Going on right now, all through this election. DOJ down in Washington looks sure like they're coordinating things, and if they're not, they're certainly not stepping in and not giving any guidance to help democracy. So obviously, you have FBI, CIA, DOJ. These are the top-level people that are doing this, too. And so what would make anyone think? You'd have to be an idiot to think that they're not at least seriously considering doing something in the swing states. And we have a history in the Central Intelligence Agency in this country, and all Central Intelligence type agencies in most governments interfere when they can, and they think it's their advantage. Not domestically, externally, we'll call it. I just can't think of the word right now, internationally. But domestically, we see them interfering in Trump's elections for 9 years and trying to remove him with a fraudulent.
Look, you're making good points, Jerry. And I mean, you obviously, I don't want to say you left out because I cut you off. You may be going there. The number one thing the deep state did is someone tried to kill President Trump on more than one occasion, right? And once in this very state, Butler, Pennsylvania, they came way too close to succeeding. So I agree. I mean, it's not some corny thing that I'm saying to try to pander with my pro-Trump audience. I pray for this guy every night, not only because I have great admiration for President Trump, but I know how important his success and his continued existence is to the unity of this country. So I was in Broomall, Jerry, over the weekend. I was knocking doors. I've mentioned that. And it started out at a MAGA bus tour stop. And I got to meet a lot of really interesting people. There was Byron Donalds, the congressman, of course, from Florida. Matt Whitaker, right? He was there. Awesome guy, about 80 feet tall, by the way. And Peter Navarro was there, someone who knows an awful lot about lawfare and how the Biden administration has weaponized the Justice Department and the justice system generally from top to bottom. And I'll tell you what Peter Navarro said. He didn't get specific, but he said, listen, Trump supporters, voters need to be prepared for absolutely everything over the final days of this campaign. Get in line, stay in line, pack a lunch, bring some water if you're allowed to have that at the polling station, and do not get out of line. Do not get out of line. You have to stay in line. And the Trump campaign, the promise they're making, and I'm getting this vibe. I'm tired of using the word vibe, but I am getting this vibe that this time.
What's the vibes?
What's the vibe?
What's the vibe?
I'm feeling that they're actually going to fight for our votes, right? They realize the error that Republicans made in 2020 with not aggressively and preemptively following up on any type of even whiff of Democrat voter suppression or Democrat fraud attempts. So I have confidence, but your instinct is right, Jerry, and I appreciate you calling in to the Matt Rooney Show this evening. Everyone needs to keep their head on a swivel here as we head into Tuesday and through Tuesday, because you can't put anything past these people. Look, ultimately, and this has always been, I think, what characterizes the left more than anything else, because their positions have changed. They used to be anti-war. Now they want to send your kids to die in Ukraine. They love big government. They consistently like to spend money. They're also moral relativists. They're moral relativists. They always think whatever the end is that they want to get to, that will always justify the means. Republicans haven't always been that way, right? We play by the Queensberry rules. Be on your guard. Be on your guard, Daniel.
I'm done with you.
Yes. That's right.
I'm done with this
But the final polls look good. Things are looking up.
Well, actually, another thing. You said if we can have water, how about a little of that adult beverage? You know what I'm talking about?
Little adult beverage?
Little adult beverage in a little flask. Is that allowed?
Is that allowed? I don't.
Is that allowed?
I don't.
Can I show up to the polls?
Can you you want to tailgate in your polling station?
What's wrong with that? Can I show up to the polls 3 sheets to the wind?
You're an idiot.
Oh, thanks. Well, I knew that. But thanks. Put me down nicely. Jeez.
Yeah, this is exactly what we need. An election that's already fraught with people being overly emotional and their nerves are frayed. We need people to now get drunk and show up. It's like when your relatives show up drunk at Thanksgiving. That always makes things so much more conversational and easy. But then again, to be fair, what you consume, right? These high noons you like are
I haven't had them in a while.
They're basically water.
Actually,
so you know what? You can probably crush 10 of those things and still be able to see the ballot clearly.
I can't. My limit's 3 of those without anything in between.
All right. Okay.
But I did. Speaking of...
Well, that's because you're 6 pounds, though, too.
7, but thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Although Bella and her parents would say I'm like 300 and some pounds. Over this last couple of weeks, I did have a nice alcoholic adult cream soda, and it was delightful.
An adult cream soda?
Yeah, it was delightful. It was a hard soda. It was delicious.
So I've heard people speak favorably of adult root beer, so I guess
not a
it's
fan.
the same principle.
Same principle.
You just don't like root beer, I guess.
It's from a Seven Sirens up towards Easton in Bethlehem. It's scrumdiddlyumptious, as they might say.
Scrumdiddlyumptious?
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like someone. That sounds like something someone would say if they like adult cream beverages.
Can we keep it PG, please?
You and Tim Waltz probably get together. You drink a
We
bunch
do.
Of, drink a bunch of hard cream soda and talk about Elon Musk.
I call him Timmy. We play Madden together.
Call him Timmy.
Yeah. He likes to show me his striped boxers, and I'm like, whoa, Tim, what are we doing?
I'll tell you who Tim Waltz should talk to. He should talk to the first gentleman. Did you see him on MSNBC?
No, but he embodies
complaining that male Trump voters are too enamored with the fact that, they want to vote for somebody masculine.
I was going to say he embodies the sexiness of a man.
Oh, yeah. It really is amazing that the babysitter was willing to do anything with him.
Yeah. We have that clip, by the way.
Yeah, let's play this. This is Doug, second gentleman Doug, on MSNBC. It's pretty bad when you're a Democrat and you go on MSNBC and they still can't make you look good, but 'tis the season for the Harris campaign. Check this out.
What I talk to young men about who might be taken by the, fun side of Donald Trump, such as it is, the dancing, the going to the wrestling matches, going on the podcasts, and trying to portray himself as someone who he really is. And I think Cardi B called this out and said it's just all a hustle. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm trying to implore young men in particular to do the research. He's not your friend. The policies that he's talking about will not help them in the economy. The policies that he's talking about have nothing to do with them. So
Is it just me, or does he sound like he is? He's had way too many adult hard sodas. Like he sounds like he is either high, drunk, or just completely out of it. And he's like, I'm drained. She keeps using me the way that I don't want to be used. She's like, she keeps, she's probably like that, she whips him at night. She's like, oh, Dougie. You know what I mean?
He does sound like a guy who's been beaten because he peed on the toilet seat too many times, so now she makes him sit down.
Or maybe he likes being peed on. I don't know. Oh, God. Hey, you got to realize that's the sexiest man alive, all right? That's who we're talking about.
Goodbye!
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I actually am aroused by him.
Gmail over at the YouTube page, youtube.com/@1210WPHT says Tim Walz is an evil Mr. Rogers.
Also, I just want to point out real quick, a little teeny tiny thing real quick. Bella quoted you and said, sounds like what someone would say if they like adult cream.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you did. Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
I added another clip to the soundboard.
I don't have a lot of time for that. I don't have time for that.
Well, guess what, Bello? When it comes to Tim Walz, there will be no retraction. I do not apologize. I will never apologize.
I think you were talking about Doug about that with the adult cream. Or was it Tim Walz? I don't know. It happened like 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, no, because I said that you sat around with Tim Walz drinking hard.
That's right.
Creamsicle, whatever the heck.
It's cream soda. Cream soda. That's right. That's right.
But look, this is the big question, right? So we're talking about the gender gap this hour. We're questioning Dan's masculinity. We have Tim Walz questioning Elon Musk's sexuality. Will Trump get men to the polls on Tuesday? I think he will. I think that you are going to show up. I think that pro-Trump men will show up at the polls. I don't think there's any real risk here of Trump supporters, given everything this guy's been through for them sitting this one out. And that's one of the reasons why, even though we've seen some real bogus surveys in recent days,
they're phonies.
That Ann Seltzer poll, for instance, over the weekend.
Oh, saying that Iowa is now blue?
Yeah, Iowa's basically blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Even though Trump won it by more in 2020 than he did in 2016. Yeah, I'm kind of fine with it at this point because I don't want anybody to be too comfortable. I don't want to feel too comfortable.
I also don't.
We need to fight like we're a point behind.
I also don't look at polls. I could give two less of S words for a poll. I think polls reflect absolutely nothing. Polls are very biased towards the left. At least some of them are. I'm not going to say all of them,
right.
But I just don't like polls. I think they're a lie from what the actual thing. I mean, you had Hillary Clinton winning in 2016 the whole time, and then it was just a quote unquote red wave from him in 2016. So
it depends on the pollster, I think, at least to some degree. But I'll tell you this much: as we sit here now, right, almost 8:00 Sunday before Election Day, they definitely don't matter at this point. All that matters is, are you going to show up? Early voting is now done in New Jersey. It's been done in Pennsylvania for a little bit longer. If you haven't voted already, you just got to get there. And as Peter Navarro said over the weekend in Broomall, you got to bring friends. Try to bring everyone that you know.
What about dead relatives?
Dead relatives? Well, this is in Hudson County, New Jersey, so that's more of a Democrat thing.
I'll bring their.
Although we did have some voter fraud to that effect over the weekend.
What if
in New Jersey? Did you see that?
No, but what if I bring like the skeleton prop for like Halloween, and I'm like, hey, this is my brother. Do you think they'll let him in since PA doesn't have voter ID?
Well, if it's a Democrat town and a Democrat's clerk's office, and you tell them they're illegal, that skeleton entered the country illegally, they'll probably not only let them vote, but put them up in a hotel.
What if I go there the first time and I'm like, I'm illegal, and then I do like my whole Cuban thing, and then I come back with a fake mustache. I'm like, hey, nice to meet you. You think they'll let me vote twice?
Probably. And you know what? For anybody listening that doesn't know Dan, right, because you're newer to the program, he's allowed to do what he just did because he is 1/8 Hispanic.
Therefore, it counts.
So therefore, he's allowed to do that. Like I'm a quarter of Italian, so I can make Italian jokes.
Right.
Those are the rules. We're just following them. But listen, before the end of the hour, another reason to be on your guard. What Dan's talking about and joking about actually allegedly happened. There are two women, one from Parlin, one from Monroe in New Jersey, Middlesex County, the middle of the state, right, that are accused of voter fraud. They've been charged by the prosecutor's office because allegedly they both attempted to cast ballots in the name of a deceased family member. So this stuff happens. And this is what the Trump campaign needs to worry about, among other things, between now and Tuesday. 855-839-1210, our number here at the station, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Be sure to subscribe, give us a like. 1 hour in the can, but we still have 2 more hours of broadcasting left before our final show, pre-election, is concluded. Remember, in the next hour, we have Dave McCormick, Senate candidate in the great state of Pennsylvania, and as much more as we can possibly fit in here on The Matt Rooney Show. Back in just a moment.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff rallies for Vice President Kamala Harris at Sharon Baptist Church in West Philly. Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio campaigns in Delaware County. Thomas Jefferson University and the Community College of Philadelphia partner up, offering academic opportunities and reduced tuition.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
It all comes down to this. Election night. The election of our lifetime. What will happen? Where will the problems and surprises be? Will Pennsylvania decide who the next president is?
No matter our differences, when we work together, there is nothing that we cannot achieve.
Be here for our election night coverage starting at 7 p.m. with Rich Cioli, Jimmy Fela, Don Stensland, Nick Cale, and Dom Giordano, plus Walter Sterling into the wee small hours. All live, all local. Election night starting at 7 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and on the free Odyssey app. WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Matt Rooney on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Welcome back, old friends, new frenemies, and all who lie elsewhere in between on the spectrum that is life. This is the Matt Rooney Show. I am the aforementioned Matt Rooney, coming to you for our dose of Trace for our bilingual listeners and viewers here on 1210 WPHT. Counting down the minutes until America decides 2024. It's not election day anymore. I got to stop calling it that. Because, I voted in September. It's election season.
Fraud.
No.
Telling everyone to go out to the polls. And you're like, oh, I already voted in September, but go on to the vote.
I had to bank it. I had to bank it.
Fraud.
I had to make sure I got it in because I've got duties on election day.
Yeah?
Yeah, I gotta run SaveJersey.com, my website, and then
You run that?
Yeah, baby.
Okay.
You didn't know that?
I did.
See, now when you try to make fun of me, I'm going to respond in a very sincere manner because it just takes the air right out of the balloon.
It does.
Well, yes, I do, Dan. Thank you very much for reminding everyone.
There's going to be a callback from, I guess, last season when I was on. We'll call that season 1. Now it's season 2.
Season 2.
Each year I'll take a break and it's a new season.
That's right.
It's a callback from last season, but I guess we just forget about those things.
We do. We do. By the way, last show for me before the election, obviously, because next Sunday the dust will hopefully be settled. But you heard during the break that there is 1210 WPHT live coverage of the election on Tuesday night, kicking off with Rich Cioli. I'm going to be part of that lineup somewhere in there. Still kind of working it out with Mr. Stocker. He's assigning us to which slot we're going to be in, but I think I'm going to be on with Dom Giordano and Dawn Stensland at some point that evening.
You coming in?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to come in. I might be broadcasting from one of the Republican victory parties in New Jersey.
Victory? You're claiming it already, huh?
Yeah, baby. Why not?
Okay.
They always call it a victory party, by the way, even if there's not a victory to celebrate.
So if they lose, it's a victory party for losing.
You never plan a, hey, let's wait and see party. No one's going to show up to that.
Why can't it just be an election party. Like, why does it have to be a victory party? Just call it an election
Because that sounds even lamer than it actually is.
You know what else is lame? Going to a Halloween party not dressed up as anything. That's lame.
That is awful.
That's lame.
That is really lame. Did that happen to you this year?
No.
Okay.
I didn't go to any parties this year.
You didn't go to any parties?
No, because one,
Did you not get invited to any parties?
I was always working on the days that I was invited. Bella invited me to some.
Yeah.
I was working. I went to like a little get together, I guess, but no one really was dressed up.
A little soiree, if you will.
Yes, no one was like dressed up. 2 people were, but no one else was. So I was like, whatever.
Yeah, I didn't go to any Halloween parties this year.
Dressed up for work though.
You dressed right. Well, I hope so.
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad you put on clothes.
I was an 8-ball.
You were an 8-ball?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
All right. Good for you.
Super low budget.
I was Slimer, as you know, because I brought my mask in.
Oh, we know.
Yeah, my kids were fantastic Ghostbusters.
How can you forget the tongue?
It lives with us. It will live with us always. I did not understand the concept. And again, I didn't go to any Halloween parties this year. A little busy, as you can imagine. But, in recent years, I've gone to several. And something that I was unaware of as a slightly younger Matt Rooney was sexy Halloween. That not all women, obviously. Some of you have great senses of humor. Some of you go
more so my
more
generation.
Traditional. Yeah. It started with millennials, and now Gen Z's really leading in, where a lot of women just kind of walk around half naked on Halloween. And this was beginning when I was in college, but because I was a nerd and always spent October on weekend campaign trips, I wasn't going to most of the Halloween parties.
Loser.
So by the time I got to grad school, yeah, absolutely, I was a loser.
Loser.
And I showed up in my first party, and there were girls in my class walking around in like their underwear and a lab coat. I'm a scientist.
What's the issue with that?
I didn't say there was an issue, just that I did not know it was a thing until I was in my 20s. Had no idea.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
It's a big thing.
A lot of
sexy Halloween.
A lot of with I guess my generation, it's just a lot of sexy cats. And by sexy cats, it's just like
sexy cat ladies, or just their actual
actual cats,
like
actual cats, like the cat ears, and they got like fishnets on. They're wearing
like the Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Sure, and they're wearing like thongs and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I speaking from experience.
Speaking from experience,
I was the sexy cat.
You were oh God.
I actually am aroused by him.
Thank you. And
not at all.
And I bet Kamala and Doug Emhoff went as a leather dominatrix and a pay pig.
I was just going to ask you what it is. I don't want to know.
You don't know what a pay pig is?
I have no. My interest level is zero.
Crazy.
As to what a pay. All right, tell us what it is.
A pay pig is someone who basically.
Is this your fact of the week?
No, that's not a fact of the week. A pay pig is essentially someone who will pay a woman to let them do whatever they want to them.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like they will, I don't know.
Like walk them around on a little leash and
Correct.
Stuff like that.
And they'll like do anything that the girl said. It's like, oh, get out $50 and give me the $50. They'll go to an ATM and they'll give them the $50. So it's basically like they pay them to do whatever they want.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Essentially.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that being a big thing with male Kamala voters. Yeah.
Hey, now.
I could see that. I will tell you, that's one of the reasons why I think that Trump is going to do a lot better with men this year. There's a few things percolating out there. We spoke to Tim Murtaugh, Trump's senior advisor, in the first hour, and he alluded to some of them. I'll tell you what I think could play a role this time. The last time we elected a president, it was in the middle of a pandemic. So all these soy boys that were living with their girlfriends were at home with them, getting their ballots in the mail, right? They were working remotely. They were complaining online, oh, I'm so tired of running out of things to watch on Netflix. And it was awfully hard to make a non-woke decision when your girlfriend with a hyphenated last name is looking over your shoulder.
I mean, a lot of people during quarantine also discovered the real them, and they all became trans. That's when this big trans craze came out. They're like, I'm bored. I'm going to start women's clothing. This feels right. I'm going to chop my peanuts off.
Well, yeah, that's we're not referring to the family of that squirrel.
No,
we're talking about peanuts. Yeah, well, look, we know that COVID brought about an epidemic of mental illness, especially among the youth. So I have no doubt that there's some correlation there. One of the many things we need to turn the page on this year, folks.
We're not turning the page. As good old, what's her name? Gwen? Tim Walz' wife said?
No, she's
turning the page.
It's always in the eyes, isn't it?
Turning the page.
Watch.
Rabble Rouser on YouTube said, boy, this show is boring. How about you come on here and do it then? Rabble. Don't listen.
Well, his name's Rabble Rouser, so his standards are kind of high.
I've never seen you a day in my life of being on the show, but welcome. Glad you're enjoying the show. Even if it's boring, you're still giving us views. So how about you come on, you talk for 3 hours, and we'll see how it goes. Your show will probably be boring. How about them apples?
You tell them, Daniel.
Continue.
You tell them.
Continue.
Well, I think it's going to be a rough couple days, speaking of mental illness, for some of our friends on the left, because if the polls land the election where they're suggesting they're going to, Donald Trump is heavily favored to win. What I've heard a few people say, Murtaugh said it in the first hour, you'd rather be him than her at this point, for a lot of reasons, but including his polling position. He's ahead by almost every objective measure that we have. And so there's going to be a lot of hurt feelings. There's going to be a lot of sadness. There's going to be a lot of therapy bills. A lot of people are going to be blowing money they should be spending on Christmas or having a good time or on something important because they're going to be visiting a shrink to try to help them deal with what is inevitably coming here. A lot of sadness out there. And it's already starting. I'll give you an example here. This school, what are you laughing at?
Rabble, he's coming from red-pilled Harry Potter.
Red what? What is red-pilled Harry Potter?
Hold on. This is gonna talk amongst yourself.
All right, I'll continue the show while you continue the sideshow. So this is a school, okay, in the Bronx, called the Ethical Culture Fieldston School. You're a wizard, Harry.
I don't know what I guess it's because I look like Harry Potter and I'm talking about the red pill. So,
I get it now because you've got glasses and you're kind of dorky. I understand.
That's great. I love how the first insult, anytime you see someone with glasses, oh, you're Harry Potter. Think of something better, buddy. I just made the show 100 times better. Thank you. You know what? You can take my paycheck. How about that? Thank you for making the show better. I applaud you. Appreciate you. I can give you the contact if you want a job here. Maybe you can spice the station up. Oh, now it's getting good. Yeah.
Is he getting saucy?
Yeah, now I'm going to just ride on... You know what? On my way home, I'm going to ride on my broom. Right down the Schuylkill. Ride on my broom.
Yeah, his bike basically is a broom.
Yeah.
Well, this ain't Hogwarts, but the school in the Bronx, it's $65,000 a year. I think Hogwarts you go on scholarship. I don't think you pay.
Yeah, Hogwarts you have to get
you get a letter from McGonagall.
Yeah.
And then you get invited.
Hagrid comes then too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The giant guy.
Yeah.
So this school, not Hogwarts, has announced it is going to allow students who feel emotionally distressed by election results to skip classes the day after the election. This is first reported by the New York Times. They were alerted to it by an email from the upper school principal, Stacy Bobo. Great name for someone to make these kinds of decisions.
Bobo?
Bobo. Her name is actually Bobo. Oh, that's so unfortunate. The name of the title of the email was Election Day Support, and this email outlined accommodations that they're going to provide for the student body. They're not going to make them complete homework on Election Day. They're not going to hand out any homework assignments. They're not going to have any quizzes or tests on the Wednesday after the election. Absences will be excused. They're even going to provide counselors. You know, sometimes schools provide counselors after, God forbid, something tragic happens to a classmate or a member of the faculty passes away tragically. They're going to do this if Donald Trump wins.
I got caught in, better yet, anorexic Edward Snowden.
Oh, man. Maybe we should give Rabble Rouser a job.
Yeah, this is good. keep them coming, man. This is good.
Yeah, this is solid.
This is supposed to offend me or something. It's really not.
It's failing. It's failing badly.
I don't know if you know this, but I like being insulted. I don't know. I don't know if that's a kink or what, but I just like it.
Well, that's why you would fit in at the ethical cultural Fieldston School.
Oh yeah,
that's why they sent you to Hogwarts instead of there, because you don't need this type of coddling. But I saw this article earlier from the New York Times, and it once again crystallizes the stakes of this election. This is one of the things that we're having this grand national debate about, right? Because this is what the left is doing to our culture. Obviously, economics paramount for most people, myself included. What I paid for groceries when I bought them today relative to what I was paying 4 years ago, not even on the same planet. It's crazy. And I work my tail off. My wife works her tail off. I know most of you do too. We're pretty fortunate. We're doing okay. But there are things that we're having to make decisions about. Are we going to buy this brand? Are we going to buy that brand? Are we going to do this or be able to take that little trip? And I know many of you are even worse shape. You're having to decide between medicine and groceries, or whether you're going to keep that kid in that college that you're helping them pay for, or whether or not they're going to have to come home. I get that that's where we're at, but politics is always downstream from culture. Bill Bennett used to say that all the time. And this is another example. We can't survive as a country with the leaders of tomorrow needing crisis counselors because the candidate that they don't prefer won the election. That's sick. It's messed up. Rabble-rouser at least probably agrees with us on that, I would think. I would hope. I don't think that's controversial, right?
No.
Even though sometimes we are controversial around here. One of the many things to think about on Election Day, folks. Again, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Just a reminder, we've got Dave McCormick, U.S. Senate hopeful here in the great state of Pennsylvania, coming up in just about 15 minutes. I think he's at a rally tonight. You may have heard Pennsylvania kind of ground zero for this election that's going on. But he's going to check in with us because he knows how important our audience is, particularly those of you that are in eastern Pennsylvania, obviously. I was knocking doors in Delco this weekend, saw a bunch of McCormick for Senate signs. I think he's doing well. We'll hear from the man himself how he thinks he's doing. Tim Murtaugh, Trump's advisor, who was here earlier on the program, seems to think he's doing quite well. I mean, I'll tell you what I think. If Trump really does win Pennsylvania by a few points, which seems entirely possible, Bob Casey's days may finally be numbered as a United States Senator.
Get him out of here.
Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
Good night, everybody.
Get him out of
here.
You
hear what Fetterman said?
I did.
Fetterman throwing Harris under the bus again, too. This guy, you obviously know that what might be in store for Bob Casey here has him nervous sweating. Pennsylvania's own Shrek.
Donkey.
That was pretty good.
Don't get out of my swamp.
John Fetterman was talking to Dana Bash over on CNN, and he said stuff along these lines before, but now we're almost at Election Day, and he seems pretty convinced that the Democrat nominee ain't going to carry his home state. You tell me what you think.
And I've been saying this, whether it was Biden or then became Harris, I said it's going to be very close. And Trump definitely has a connection with voters here in Pennsylvania, and that's why it's going to be close.
It's going to be close. You don't hear any confidence in there, do you?
Not really. I think he also said at one point, don't know if he was serious or not, but I also think that he said at one point, like, oh, Trump's winning Pennsylvania. I don't know if it was a slip up or he was said it in a joking manner, but he said it, so I'm going to take it and twist it.
Look, you well, that's your prerogative, right? Yeah. But look, you correctly stated, Dan, you got to be careful with the polls. We all obsess over the tea leaves. Just look at the math. You don't even have to get to the polls. Could Donald Trump have run for re-election with worse conditions in 2020? The George Floyd riots, the pandemic. You had a much stronger Democrat candidate because Joe Biden had a few marbles to rub together back then, as opposed to none, which is what he had at the time he dropped out. And he still only lost Pennsylvania by 80,000 votes. Republicans, their registration gap with Democrats has shrunk by hundreds of thousands of votes since the last election. So, again, I am not suggesting that Pennsylvania's in the bag. We got to fight like heck to get across the finish line. But, you can understand why Fetterman's not projecting confidence. Normally what you expect from a surrogate is him to say, oh, I think she's in a strong position. She's doing well. We're very confident. You're not getting that from the Harris campaign in Pennsylvania. That's why instead of trying to expand the map, fighting in a more purple state, her final 3 rallies, all here in the Keystone State. Watch the behavior. Tim's right about that. 855-839-1210. That's our number here at the Matt Rooney Show. Write it on your arm. Put it in your phone. Call in if you got something worth saying. You might just get on with me, Matt Rooney, on 1210 WPHT. Quick timeout to play some ads, make some money. We are capitalists around here, unlike Kamala, and we'll be back on the other side.
Don't miss the Education Show with Dom Giordano every Sunday morning at 5:30. Find out how you can help your child or grandchild succeed. Sponsored by New Hope Academy.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. One of the biggest, healthiest sales of the year is back again. Rescue Natural Supplements Black Friday sale is here. Right now, Rescue is slashing prices on every supplement with discounts up to an incredible 80% off. Rescue has a wide variety of products to address your health needs, including immunity and cholesterol support, heart health, and natural energy enhancers. Grab huge savings on omega-3s, probiotics, and a lot more. And one more thing, this Rescue Black Friday sale will run the entire month of November. So shop today at res-q.com, res-q.com, or call a Rescue product consultant at 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Again, all Rescue supplements are up to 80% off during the entire month of November, so why wait? Shop massive savings on essential supplements right now at res-q.com. Do it today.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
There's breaking news all day long from around the world, and sometimes all that noise makes it hard to hear about what's happening right here at home. With the free Odyssey app, getting your local news plus breaking news is easy. And even when you're not near a radio, stay connected with what's going on right here by listening live and push alerts. Just download the free Odyssey app and search and follow your local news station, and you're good to go. The local breaking news to get you through your day at your fingertips on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
Even though we just said we were going to talk about polls. I have a new poll.
Polls this, polls that. It's always about the polls, isn't it?
This is from our buddy Rich Barris, though. He didn't conduct the poll, but he's talking about online. The big data pollster. He's been on the program before. Great guy. One of the only ones out there that you can trust is actually trying to get to an honest result. He posted the results of a Univision poll of Pennsylvania Puerto Ricans. Harris 67, Trump 27. That's a 40-point advantage for those of you that learned math from the public school teachers unions. But guess what? That number didn't move at all from the last poll, according to Rich Barris. So we were led to believe by the media after an opening act at a Trump rally made a joke about the island of Puerto Rico that Trump was cooked. Well, I mean, maybe some white liberals got a little, twisted in the panty region over the shock jock, that comic that made the joke, but it doesn't seem like actual Puerto Ricans that were supporting Donald Trump. It changed their level of support at all. I am not surprised. Not surprised in the least. 855-839-1210. That's the number here at the program. I try to tell you people, and I've been trying to tell you now for a long, long time, and I know some of you know this, so for those who get it already, I'm sorry for kicking the proverbial dead horse here. Don't assume because the media is talking about it that that's what people actually care about, or that's what moves actual real-life people. They're constantly trying to manipulate you. And now, Jerry from Jersey, our caller from earlier, I think it was last hour, right?
Yep.
Jerry pointed out all the various ways that they've tried to destroy Donald Trump in recent time, and they've failed. So now they're officially running out of ideas. So their idea the weekend before the election is to try to, and it's a little bit schizophrenic. On the one hand, some of them are trying to convince you that he's ahead and you don't need to worry about it. Oh, he's got this thing in the bag, don't show up. Others are trying to convince you that it's over, that there's actually this undercurrent of Harris support that hasn't been detected, and the blue wave is coming, and this is going to be like 2022. I think that's what the Ann Seltzer Des Moines Register poll is aiming at here. Just shut all that stuff out. Shut it right out. Get rid of all that noise.
Okay, it's shut out. All the noise is gone.
You need some kind of sound effect, though, to confirm for me that you've successfully done it. And I have no such thing.
I don't know.
Goodbye!
Sure.
There you go. That kind of works, right? Sure. That's what you might say if you're shutting a door, right?
Could also do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Hispanic vote,
that's me.
Rasmussen, you're 1/8.
That's me.
1/8, bud.
That's me.
The Hispanic vote, Rasmussen now has Trump winning Hispanics. You got to pull this polling result up. Doing quite well with them, at least with male Hispanics. Is that the Hispanic voter theme?
I guess. I don't know.
He's leaning in, folks. He's leaning in. Yeah, but the only people that were offended by those Puerto Rico jokes were rich white liberals who were having a heck of a time.
Didn't George Lopez also then make a Mexican joke?
He made a Mexican joke.
Yeah, that they're all thieves.
Yes.
Yeah.
He called all Mexicans thieves.
Yeah.
And yet it's Republicans that need to apologize.
Yeah.
Here's a goodie. This is at NBC Boston. Okay? Apparently, and I want to say before we play this cut, I am obviously not encouraging anybody to replicate this prank, right? That doesn't mean I can't laugh at it. Apparently, some white Harris supporters in a neighborhood that is quite affluent received some interesting letters after someone identified them as Harris supporters. I don't want to ruin the surprise, so let's just play the cut. Again, this is from the Boston suburbs.
I put a lawn sign in my front yard, and I don't think I should be subjected to these fraudulent mailers.
When this 50-year-old Shrewsbury woman put up a Harris wall sign in front of her home, she just wanted to show her support. She never imagined she would be subjected to a campaign dirty trick.
It really creeped me out.
She was dismayed when the mail arrived this week and she received this postcard. It purports to be from the Harris campaign, thanking her for putting up a sign and alerting her a family from Nicaragua would be moving into her home.
That's when I realized it was an obvious attempt to try to either scare me or rage bait me and make me upset.
It's absolutely a scare tactic.
Suffolk.
Why is it a scare tactic? These are the people that are upset over a joke about Puerto Rico. They say that Donald Trump is a xenophobe and a racist for wanting to secure our border. Why shouldn't she be excited that somebody is coming up from South or Central America to stay with her? Why is it a scare tactic? Now, of course, if NBC had any real journalists, that would be the natural follow-up question. Well, why, if you support an open border and the open border candidate, right? Kamala Harris, she's the border czar. She owns this whole thing. Why is that not something you would be stoked to do, to host a family that's just trying to come to the United States for a better life by breaking in? What am I missing, Daniel?
Nothing.
I didn't think so.
Nope.
Nope. Nope. Oh, man, I wish I was a psychiatrist because I think they're going to clean up starting on Wednesday morning. I really do. And by the way, I'm not going to make predictions tonight. I think that's a fool's errand, especially in this day and age we live in of protracted voting and God knows what else Democrats have in store for us. I do have one prediction. I do think by the time we wake up on Wednesday morning when you tune into 1210 WPHT for Kaling Company, certainly by the time Rich Zeoli and Dom Giordano come on later in the afternoon, I think we're going to have a pretty good idea who the President of the United States is. I'm not sure whether the Associated Press will have called it. I'm not sure whether anybody will have declared victory. I'm not getting, here's that word again, I'm not getting that vibe that this thing is going to go on for weeks. I'm just saying. And this ain't my first rodeo. Well, Daniel, what do you want to do? Do you want to play some ads or should we just keep rolling?
No, go on break.
Go on break? All right. Let's play some ads. Let's make some money. And when we return, as promised, Dave McCormick, U.S. Senate candidate for the great state of Pennsylvania. This is the big race, folks, the big local race that not only will tell us much about how the presidential contest is going to play out, but also potentially decide control of the United States Senate. Is Dave McCormick confident? Where does the race stand today? We'll ask the man himself in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.
It's that time of year again to consider replacing your old drafty windows and doors before another long, cold winter season rolls in. And my good friends at Guida Door and Window will help make your window and door replacement project more affordable with their buy one, get one half off sale. For every door and window you buy, you'll get the second one at 50% off. And you can mix and match these savings to suit your own needs. Buy an entry door? Get half off a storm door. Buy a patio door? Get 50% off a window. Need to replace all the windows and doors in your house? Then you'll save 50% on half your project. The more you need, the more you save. Plus, Guida is making it easier to afford your project with no money down and interest-free financing for up to 18 months. Act now. This offer is for a limited time only. Restrictions apply. For full details, call Guida today to schedule a free, no-obligation in-home estimate at 877-GO-GUIDA or visit them at GoGuida.com. That's go, GUIDA.com.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
I love this song! I love nachos.
Loving everything? You might be buzzed.
You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Rich Zeoli. Let me tell you about my buddy, Dr. Mike Veneria. Great guy. Whether you're looking for pediatric, general, cosmetic, or implant dentistry, look no further. Dr. Veneria and his award-winning team, they have your whole family covered, just like mine. Dr. Veneria's office exceeds CDC guidelines and has always maintained the strictest infection control with centralized UV sterilization of airflow to ensure your safety. Locations right over the bridge in Cinnaminson and Woodbury, 856-786-2020 or veneriadental.com.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-511-3535. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider, 800-511-3535. That's 800-511-3535. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-511-3535.
Hey, this is Jimmy Fallon in the house, and dig this, folks. This is not a drill. It's the real thing. You can now join me weeknights from 7 to 10 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT or anywhere on the free Odyssey app.
Producer Dan returned to us last week, but some of the YouTube crowd is realizing this week that you've returned. Maybe because last week we also had our pal Justin here, and it was a busy program. So it's dawning on them that you have reappeared.
That sucks for them.
No, Suze Loves Jeffy, for instance, seems enthused about it. And Jimmy says it's good to see you again, Daniel.
Yeah, a lot of people have been very welcoming.
Yeah.
Very welcoming back. And then there's just
They missed you.
Yeah, then there's just a few who just, ruin it for everyone. That's
Well,
fine.
rabble-rouse are more rabble than rouse, I think.
I could give two less of an S about that guy.
Yeah, you guys have a beef now. You're beefing.
There is no beef.
Isn't that what it's called, though? You taught me what that meant.
Right. Yeah, but a beef is like when there's just, it's active for however many months. Like a beef is ongoing.
That's an ongoing thing.
Right. If it's just like a little 2-minute thing, it's not really a beef.
Right, this isn't a
Scuffle.
grudge. This
It's kind of
isn't a
scuffle.
vendetta. He's just hating on you.
Yeah.
And you're not hitting the ball back over the net.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's try to keep it above the belt here, gentlemen. Over on the YouTube page. Okay? Let's try to keep it civil. We got plenty we got to cover tonight, including our next guest. I think we've got him with us, right?
Yeah.
So this is a man who's got a sterling resume, but unlike many politicians that seek high office, he's not running for a resume line. He's a 7th-generation Pennsylvanian. He's a West Point graduate. He's a combat veteran, served in the first Gulf War, Bronze Star recipient, very successful in the arena of business. And now, if I may say so, I think that our guest this evening embodies what the Founding Fathers had in mind. They did envision these Bob Casey types, right? Members of the Lucky Sperm Club that were born to the right person and then just decided to make a career out of politics because they have no real-world skills. They wanted people who, candidly, could be a lot happier and a lot richer doing something else, but they give their time and they give of themselves to serve the country. That's what Dave McCormick has done, and that's what he's hoping to continue to do if we're lucky enough for him to become a senator-elect on Tuesday. So without any more wind-up, let's welcome back to the Matt Rooney Show on 1210 WPHT, the man of the hour, Dave McCormick. Dave, we appreciate you joining us. We know you might have a thing or two going on this evening.
I sure do, Matt. How are you? Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, listen, I'm in my hometown of Bloomsburg, and I just finished up a big rally at the high school gym where I wrestled as a high school kid, which is right next to the football field. And this is the place that kind of had coaches and teachers, and where my parents gave me a lot of the gifts that I've carried through my life. That was 40 years ago, and it's great to be back. We had a full house, and what we're talking about is the future of America, honestly. What happens in Pennsylvania will determine the presidency. It'll determine who has the majority in the Senate, and it's really a race, in my case, between change and the status quo. A career politician who is a weak leader, someone who votes 98.6% of the time with a radical liberal agenda, Biden-Harris, somebody who's voted for sanctuary cities and someone who's voted for this reckless spending, someone who's voted for boys competing in women's sports, very out of touch with Pennsylvania, against, as you said, a 7th-generation Pennsylvanian who wants to do this to change the direction of our country and represent our great Commonwealth. And so I've term limited myself to 2 terms because I believe, as you do, that our founders wanted people to go out there, be successful doctors or farmers or a variety of vocations, and then serve a chapter after they had been successful and could contribute. And Bob Casey's the opposite of that. He's been there. When he first went into office 30 years ago, the number 1 song was the Macarena. That'll give you some sense of how long he's been around.
Oh my God! We don't want to make anybody feel bad by telling everyone how old I was when the Macarena was a big hit. I don't even think producer Dan was born when the Macarena was on the scene. So that just ain't. It
came out in '93.
Right. Was it '93?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I was in grade school, and
I wasn't even born.
You were just a glint in your parent's eye.
Wasn't even thought of
at that point, Dan. Well, look, since the last
Yeah.
time you were on, Dave, we had you on earlier in the fall, and at that point it appeared that something was happening. The polls were tightening. Many of the surveys still had you behind, but you were closing on Bob Casey. Now, your polling position's gotten even stronger, and just today, there's a brand new Trafalgar poll from the great Robert Kalehi. We've had him on our program that has Trump up in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
He's now up, I think it's just about 2 points, and you're right there. You're up, I think, 1.5 points over Bob Casey in this latest Trafalgar survey. I'm sure it's the final Pennsylvania poll they're going to put out. And he's consistently been one of the most reliable pollsters in the country, specifically for state-based polling. So we don't want to take anything for granted, but it does seem like you have what we call the big mo.
Yeah, listen, I've definitely got momentum. It's going to be tight. This guy is, has all the benefits of incumbency. So it's, this is, for me, I'm the underdog. But what's happening is people are recognizing that he's not done anything, and that I offer real change. And they're also seeing that President Trump really does represent strength and common sense policies to get our economy back on track, secure the border, unlock energy, bring law and order to our cities. And Kamala Harris, the more they see of her, the less they like. And, Pennsylvania may be one of the few places that would have been better for the Democrats to keep Joe Biden because, he had a real claim to Pennsylvania. Scranton Joe, he had campaigned there for 50 years, knew every union leader, every Democratic county commissioner. And Kamala Harris, every time she opens her mouth, she spews out a set of positions that are completely out of step with Pennsylvania, banning fracking, mandatory buybacks of your guns, legalization for illegal immigrants, federal benefits for illegal immigrants, defunding the police. These positions are just out of step. So I think that's helping President Trump, and it's, of course, helping me because the point I'm making is that Bob Casey has proven he's a rubber stamp, sure thing for this extreme liberal agenda. And that's something hit me the other day. Somebody said this to me, which really stuck and really angered me, to be honest with you. Somebody said to me, "So you're running for the Casey seat?" And I thought to myself, this isn't the Casey seat. And I said this to the gentleman, this isn't the Casey seat. Hell no, I'm not running for the Casey seat. There's no entitlement to this seat because his father was a famous governor. You got to earn this right every day, this honor to represent our Commonwealth in every election. And Bob Casey's, takes this as his birthright. And this isn't his seat, it's the people's seat. And I think the people are waking up to the fact that Bob Casey hasn't led. He hasn't served them well. And I think that's why I'm gaining momentum.
The sense of entitlement that some of these leftists have, especially those in power, it's stunning, even though at this point we should be used to it. And it's not just the seats, the positions that they feel entitled to. It's also certain blocks of voters. We know how the Democrat Party, and Bob Casey's guilty of this as well, treat black Americans as if they have an entitlement to their vote every November, and they don't actually have to deliver. They just simply have to show up, be on the ballot, present as a Democrat, and therefore they're going to get those votes. And it doesn't seem like it's necessarily the case this time around. I noticed, I think it was a few days ago, correct me if I'm wrong, you participated in a school choice town hall. It was in Harrisburg, and it was hosted by Black Pastors United for Education. This is the kind of a group where you never could have imagined a Republican finding common cause 10 years ago, but President Trump, yourself, some Republicans that are looking at things differently, you're not afraid to go and talk to groups that may not traditionally be Republican. And you tell me if you think I'm wrong, but school choice is a great example. Going and having these conversations, you're finding that common ground, and I think something's beginning to change.
I really do. And, I think your point is so well taken. I think that the Democratic Party has taken for granted African-American voters, Hispanic voters, trade union voters, Jewish voters. And I'm finding across our Commonwealth, I think we're building a coalition. Look at what opportunity has been for the African-American community under Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Bob Casey versus President Trump. It was a much more vibrant economy, much more opportunity. School choice. Listen, rich people have school choice. The people that don't have school choice are the people that are living paycheck to paycheck and can't get the scholarships or grants that are available. And so every parent, black, brown, white, wants the best opportunity for the kids, that's something we can unite around. And the Democratic Party and Bob Casey have been too weak to confront the unions. I mean, the same is true with Jewish voters. And we have a huge Jewish population in Pennsylvania, 300,000 Jewish voters. About 80% of them are Democrats. But the moral equivocation in the Democratic Party under Bob Casey and the lack of standing up to anti-Semitism is breathtaking and disgraceful. My opponent, just as an example, stands up and says he's pro-Israel, he's going to stand against anti-Semitism, and he endorsed Summer Lee, who is an avowed anti-Semite, a member of the squad. You know, Kamala Harris didn't select, when he's clearly a very gifted politician, Josh Shapiro. There's no doubt it was because of the extreme anti-Semite wing of her party that she was seeking not to alienate. The trade unions, you know, you walk through these parking lots, the national labor unions all endorse Kamala Harris and Bob Casey. You walk through the parking lots of the job site, pickup trucks, gun racks, Trump signs, McCormick signs. So we are building a coalition that's trying to solve problems and create opportunity for working families. And that isn't what the Democratic Party has done. The Democratic Party has become the party of the elite. The Democratic Party has become the party of EVs and hundreds of billions of dollars of subsidies that have imposed a tax called inflation that's more than 20% on people living paycheck to paycheck. And that's how I'm campaigning to build that coalition. That's how I'm going to be as a senator, which is I'm not trying to represent Republicans. I'm trying to represent Pennsylvanians to solve problems, and that means Democrats, Republicans, independents alike. And I think that message is resonating.
Now, where are you going to be over the next couple of days? Because your message is resonating. I can say that. I was knocking doors in Delaware County this weekend,
right.
And you know, every house that had a Trump sign had a McCormick sign. Didn't see a single Casey sign. I mean, if it had been his father on the ballot many years ago,
yeah,
I think that would have been a Casey senior neighborhood. It ain't. It ain't today. They're in your column. Where are you going now through the close?
Well, I'm in my hometown of Bloomsburg right now. Right. I'm going to join President Trump tomorrow in Reading. He's got a big rally, and then he's going to do his closer rally in Pittsburgh, which is where I live, and so I'll do that with him. And then I'm going to spend the day Tuesday with my family and some friends, and we're going to go from polling place to polling place and encourage people to get out the vote and thank people who have been our supporters. You know, I feel like we have this incredible army of grassroots activists that are out there knocking doors for us. Lots of volunteers, as you just said you did, which we thank you for. I think when it's all said and done, we'll have something like 7 to 8 million doors that will have been knocked in this election, and there's a huge mail-in ballot effort and so forth. And so I want to close strong. And the metaphor I use is, you know, I wrestled in college, and, you know, I wasn't the best wrestler, but I always knew if I could get into the third period within a point or two, I'd win, because the third period in wrestling is not about wrestling. It's about mental toughness. It's about staying on offense. It's about heart and running through the tape, or in the case of wrestling, going every second until the buzzer blows. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run through the tape and hopefully wake up November 6th with the great honor of representing the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
It's what we need. We need the Senate to support President Trump because we think he's going to win too, and we need you there as well. I'm talking to Dave McCormick, everyone. You know who he is. You don't need to reintroduce him. He is the Republican Senate nominee in Pennsylvania. I do have one more random question for you before you go, though, Dave, because you got to remember, yeah. I said I was knocking doors in Pennsylvania. I'm in New Jersey, and I'm from the other side of the river, which they really got a kick out of in Broomwall, by the way. They're like, you're from Jersey? I said, yeah, you guys come to the Jersey Shore. You support us with the tourist dollars. I'm returning the favor here, even though you guys don't understand circles and jug handles and stuff. So that's a bone of contention.
Love it.
In Jersey, I think the mail-in balloting may work a little bit differently. If you're a McCormick voter and you've got a mail-in ballot, is it too late to turn it back in at this point? And if it's not, what do you do with it?
Well, no. First of all, no, it's not. And for your listeners, if you could want to learn more about me, it's DaveMcCormickPA.com. And you know, we've got all my positions laid out there and everything about how to support my campaign if you'd like to. It's unfortunately the most expensive campaign in the country. And for mail-in ballots, you can still submit your mail-in ballot. And the way to do that is to go to a polling site and drop it off, or you can just drop it off on Election Day. And we've made huge strides with mail-in ballots. The advantage that Democrats have had over the past two election cycles, 22, 2020, and 2016, have been reduced dramatically. We've made huge progress, which is going to put a bigger burden on the Democrats for getting out the vote on Election Day. And so, lots of work to do, but I feel like the thing that your listeners can do if they want to save the country is essentially get their friends to vote who may not vote, convince Republicans, Democrats, and independents alike. Put up yard signs, as you said. You saw lots of that's a huge signal to your neighbors that you're putting a stake in the ground. And then finally, lots of prayer. This is a contact sport for those of us that are in it, and knowing good people are praying for you makes a big difference.
Yeah, the good Lord's going to be tired of hearing from me by the time Tuesday's over. I can say that much. Dave McCormick, candidate for Senate in Pennsylvania. I've never met it more. Our thoughts, our prayers, our best wishes go with you over the final 48 hours here. We're in your corner. Best of luck, and hopefully we see you on the other side when there's an elect at the end of your title.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Matt. Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
Dave McCormick, everyone. I'll tell you what. The choice in Pennsylvania could not be any clearer. It's about as clear as the presidential contest at this point. Another far-left empty suit. In some ways, Dan, I almost think that Bob Casey's more offensive than Kamala Harris, because Kamala Harris, even though she's changed some of her positions, she's a lefty from California, right? Her opening salvo when she replaced Joe Biden on the ballot for the Democrats after that coup was price control, something that they only really attempt in communist countries. Bob Casey attempts to masquerade as some sort of moderate in the mold of his father, but he is absolutely not. I'll always take an honest lefty over someone pretending to be something else any day of the week.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all you have to say?
I don't care if they're right or left. I really don't. As long as the left is self-aware of what they're doing, that's all I care about. If they're like, yeah, I know they're doing it, but I still vote for them, like, all right, cool. At least you're self-aware. But if they're like, nah, that's not happening, then I'm like, well, you're kind of an idiot. But, I don't really care how people lean. It doesn't change my opinion towards someone.
One way or the other.
Yeah. They could be a raging liberal. I don't care. They could be a fun person to hang out with, but they could be a raging liberal. It doesn't affect me at all. I don't care. I don't judge people based on what they vote. Neither should anyone else.
Just to be clear, you're saying you don't judge someone you know socially or professionally because of who they vote for. Republicans, Democrats, a particular candidate or not another candidate.
I don't judge anyone based on how they vote politically. I don't think it affects me. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and try to convince someone otherwise, because normally those people have their minds made up. So if I have a really, really good friend and they're on the left, it's not like I'm going to be like, I'm not friends with you because you're on the left. It just doesn't affect me as people might think that it does.
Okay. Now, I understand your point.
Yeah.
Look, we used to have a healthier country in some respects because we used to be able to compartmentalize our politics. Now, of course, part of the reason we're not able to do that anymore is because we're not just debating tax rates anymore, as I often say, right? The left, beginning in the 60s, and it's accelerated in recent years as the 60s generation came into power, has declared a war on our culture. They're no longer content to simply debate with the right the appropriate scope and reach of government. They are now possessed with controlling your home, your family, how you raise your children. That's one of the fundamental things that's at stake in this election. Dave McCormick mentioned how he has prioritized school choice in his campaign. Who's in charge of your kids? You or Harrisburg or Trenton or Washington, D.C., right? And these elitist leftists that run the Democrat Party, whether they be Soros, whether they be Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, the tech gods out in the valley, the Hollywood types, the Wall Street lefties, which seems oxymoronic, but not in 2024. They think that this is their country. They don't believe in democracy, even though they talk about it all the time, because they're happy to let you vote, But no matter how you vote, they want to have candidates that make sure that they remain in place. Because, again, they know more than you. They know better than you. And they candidly don't think that you should be in the primary position when it comes to deciding how your children are raised, what they learn in school. In New Jersey, just this past week, the legislature passed a bill to rob local school districts and local towns of their right to ban smut from children's libraries. Right? Why can't my local school board, that I vote for the members, make a decision to ban a book that teaches young children how to stick things in their rear end? Those are the types of books that leftists are trying to put on the shelves and protect on the shelves in states like New Jersey. But the New Jersey legislature, which is dominated by Democrats and some lefty Republicans, doesn't agree with you and me. These are the things we're voting for. These are the things we're fighting for. So your vote matters, regardless of where you are. Never make a mistake of thinking it doesn't. 855-839-1210 is the number. We know some of you have been trying to get through this evening. We have a busy program. I don't know what to tell you. We do the best. We do the best we can. If you want to get some to us, sometimes the best way is either over on X. My handle's Matt Rooney NJ. You know our handle here at the station is 1210 WPHT. Dan, what's your handle? It's Producer Dez, Video Guy Dez.
Yep, Video Guy Dez.
Yeah, Video Guy Dez.
Yep.
And then, of course, over on the YouTube page, youtube.com/@1210 WPHT, where there's lots of lively conversation this evening. I guess it's time for another break, right, Daniel?
You can
coming up here on the end of the hour.
You can take it like another 3 minutes.
But do I have 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then good. I got something I want to share with everybody.
2 or 3 minutes, yeah.
I got something I want to share with everybody. This is this is a Nevada man talking to ABC. And, you know, they do these man-on-the-street interviews at the major networks because they want to try to find people that are going to parrot the narrative that they want parroted. And they want to talk to people that say bad things about Donald Trump and good things about Democrats and Kamala Harris. But once again, ABC, and this is this week, their program, we're having a little bit of difficulty. Out in Nevada, where Republicans are in an historic position, Republicans haven't carried that state to presidential contest since 2004. They're actually running well ahead in early voting this cycle. So very bullish that Donald Trump may be able to carry Nevada for the first time, did in the last 2 cycles. And if he does, gentlemen like this man you're about to hear from talking to ABC, maybe the reason why. Give it a listen. This may be an interview that you remember on the other side if this thing plays out the way I think it might.
Every day, the ads, masses of flyers, text, and mail.
Do you read it all?
No. Maybe a few months ago, but now it's become overwhelming.
And for Jalbert, who works 3 jobs to make ends meet for his young family, none of these ads are changing his mind.
We were thriving under Trump's administration, and right now we aren't. You know, I'm a regular guy. I'm a working class guy, so I can't sit here and, you know, explain economics to you. But as a regular guy, I can say, under this administration, we're thriving. Now we aren't.
Says it all, right? All the things we talk about, opine about, go on about on programs like this, online, on social media over the course of not the months, but the years that these national contests play out over now, because the cycle never really ends. It's really that simple for a lot of people. Their lives are exponentially worse today than they were under President Trump, which is really something because at the end of President Trump's term, we had a global pandemic, right? Probably because something got out of a lab in China. Whether purposefully or not, we may never be able to know
China
for sure. That's right. Oh, that's going to be one of the best things, by the way, if he wins again, that we're going to get to hear him say China again.
China. China.
China. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, Daniel. It's a beautiful thing.
He really enunciates the
China.
China.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really gets cha-cha-cha-cha. And the funny thing about Trump is he's not he is a New Yorker, obviously, but that's not really a New York accent. It's just Trump.
He doesn't really have a New York accent.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's from New York, but it's unique entirely to him. It's a Trumpian accent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so we've got more coming up in our final hour of tonight's program, our final program before election 2024, even though, as I already said, I'm going to be part of 1210 WPHT's election night coverage lineup here at the station. I think you'll get more details from Mr. Kale and Mr. Stocker in the morning starting at 6 a.m. on Monday. But in the final hour of today's program, we actually have an in-studio guest. So that's going to be a lot of fun. The man who's running for mayor in, I believe, the most populous town in Gloucester County. It's one of the big races in South Jersey this year. Jersey, we didn't forget about you. We've got you covered here on the Matt Rooney Show. 855-839-1210, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Sit tight. We're going to take one more quick break, and then we'll be back to start off the third hour in grand fashion in a moment.
Your weeknights are getting a whole lot better. With Jimmy Fallon, 7 to 10 p.m.
Back when I was a cab driver, trying to make my way in comedy and find some entree into television and radio and everything in between, I was writing articles, mocking sports culture and cancel culture and things like that. And they had booked me an interview on WPHT. They were the very first radio station to ever book me as a guest. We had a lot of laughs. So to be sitting here, 8 or 9 years later as a host in your lineup is obviously a really big deal to me personally.
Jimmy Fallon, now weeknights, 7 to 10 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff rallies for Vice President Kamala Harris at Sharon Baptist Church in West Philly. Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio campaigns in Delaware County. Thomas Jefferson University and the Community College of Philadelphia partner up, offering academic opportunities and reduced tuition.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. This is Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
The NLS Braille and Audio Reading Download Service gives patrons with visual impairments or physical limitations the freedom to read their way.
Barge is this beautiful web-based program for searching for books and for the ability to download them.
It's a great way to have a book with you without carrying a book.
For information about the National Library Service for the Blind and Physically Handicapped Library of Congress, visit loc.gov/thatallmayread.
Hi, Dawn Stensland here. You've heard me talk about Chapman Windows, Doors, and Siding for years now. How much I love the work the Chapman family team has done in my home, especially that wall of glass patio doors that replaced some windows when you walk into my foyer area. You know by now if I needed windows, doors, or siding, I would only trust the Chapman team. But did you know they also install shutters? A perfect complement to your new windows. For the month of November, Chapman Windows, Doors, and Siding is giving away a pair of shutters when you purchase 2 pairs. The right shutters can really enhance the curb appeal of your home. Whether you or somebody you know are looking for windows, doors, siding, shutters, or hardware, just give them a call. You can text them. They're local. 610-431-8898. That's 610-431-8898. You can always take a virtual tour online, ChapmanWindowsDoors.com. Get all the details. That's ChapmanWindowsDoors.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
When you need them, your local volunteer fire department routinely answers the call. Whether it be a fire, traffic accident, or a cat stuck in a tree, there is always someone there for you. However, because of declines in memberships, departments are becoming understaffed and struggling. Here's how you can help your neighbors and your community. No matter what skills you may possess, you can make a difference. Your local volunteer fire department desperately needs your help. Can you direct traffic, install a smoke alarm, help at fundraisers? Your community needs you. You don't have to fight fire to be a volunteer. Will you make that difference? Will you answer the call? Brought to you by the National Volunteer Firefighter Recruitment Center, a program service of the Volunteer Firefighter Alliance. For more information on how you can help and make a difference, visit www.nvfrc.org. That's www.nvfrc.org.
In Africa, 5-year-old Chiru has no choice. She and millions like her must walk miles every day for dirty water. But together, we can end their walk by providing clean water close by. Instead of spending hours walking to get water that makes them sick, girls can be in a classroom that expands their minds, and moms will gain back time to care for their families. Sons and daughters can grow up strong, finally free of sicknesses caused by dirty water. At World Vision, care about clean water runs deep. Deep enough to reach one new person with clean water every 10 seconds. Because every child, every person, everywhere deserves clean water and the chance to rise to their full potential. It's true. When you just add water, you change a life. Learn more at worldvision.org.
What's one of your favorite memories?
That's a tough question. Well, there was this one time I went camping with my parents in a forest back when I was maybe like 8 or 9. And I can remember one night we were laying out in our hammocks and we were just, watching the trees rustling in the wind above us, and we could hear the sounds of the forest all around us. Frogs singing and owls calling and the creek running nearby. It was amazing. It felt like we were a part of it all. I don't know if I do it justice trying to describe it, but I'll definitely never forget it.
Most of us have a memory of being in nature we'll never forget. Let's protect the world's natural places so more memories can be made for generations to come. Visit worldwildlife.org.
You are not your diagnosis.
A medical chart is not your identity.
And vision loss does not define you.
Your drive shows who you are.
And you are not alone.
Because we are driven too.
To be a beacon of strength.
A champion of courage.
An advocate for hope.
You are not alone.
Because we are stronger together.
We drive the research for the cures we are finding.
We're fighting macular degeneration,
retinitis pigmentosa,
Usher syndrome,
and the entire spectrum of blinding retinal diseases.
We fund.
We fight.
We win.
We
are the foundation fighting blindness.
Together, we are fighting blindness.
Join the fight at fightingblindness.org.
Hey, Cherry Hill. We know your favorite station is WPHT. Tell your smart speaker, play 1210 WPHT.
Welcome back, boys and girls, to the Matt Rooney Show. The finest little program anywhere in the country. Subcategory Weekend. Although I think we could stand up against anybody, Daniel. We're not just a Sunday show, as has been said by some in the past. Not recently.
We're just a Sunday show.
Just a Sunday show. We love you, Dawn. If you happen to be listening to this, we kid. We're just kidding. We're kidders, especially Daniel. 855-839-1210. Them be our digits here at the station. Over on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT, where the video has been amazingly working reasonably well this evening, and the comments are as lively as ever, even though you're getting a lot of Kamala Harris ads in the YouTube arena tonight, which sometimes people complain about that. I obviously don't control YouTube ad placements. If I did, it would be a much different world, folks. So don't complain about it. And as I've also said, listen, every time the Democrats advertise on 1210, whether it be online or here on air, the old-fashioned way, let them waste their money here. right? Let them park a sound truck outside the studio. I don't care. We got thick glass. Let them waste their money on us because we all know it ain't going to make a difference for you guys. You're too smart, as evidenced by the fact that you are consuming tonight's program. And what a program it has been. We've got 3 fantastic guests this evening. We're already through 2. We had Tim Murtaugh, President Trump's senior advisor, in the first hour. Then we have Dave McCormick in the second hour, candidate for U.S. Senate in Pennsylvania. And then we still have one more ahead. And I did this tonight not just because it's election day, so there's a lot of people to talk to, lots to accomplish. But when we have too many guests on the show, which Dan defines a guest every hour as too many guests, he gets extra salty with me because he thinks that this is his program. So, go ahead, say what you're going to say.
No. Now you're just putting words in my mouth. That's not at all. No, don't put this on me.
I have to put it on you. I can't put it on myself.
Sure you can.
But it's worked out this evening. And there's still going to be time for Twit Talk at the end of the hour, right? There's still time for your question of the day. We're going to get it all in. And then next week, hopefully we're not still counting ballots and the dust is settled, and we can talk about all kinds of other screwy stuff. And it'll be wonderful. Actually, next week I'll start agitating for you to play Christmas music, and you'll push back and complain like you used to do when you were on the program. It's going to be a lot of fun, bub. Just trust me. Just trust me. Again, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. And if you want to get a comment to me and you don't want to call, either put it in the comments there, or you can go ahead and tweet at me. I think we're still calling it that, even though it's changed to X. Matt Rooney NJ. That is my handle. All right, so we got 48 hours left to go before Election Day 2024. Spent a lot of time tonight talking about Pennsylvania, obviously, because Pennsylvania is likely going to decide who the next president of the United States is. Pennsylvania, very often in its history, has decided the fate of our republic. The republic started here, right? About a stone's throw from where we're broadcasting this evening over on Independence Mall. You wouldn't know it if you took a look at how Philly is run today and everything that's happening in Philadelphia today. But at one point, this city was the cradle of democracy. Some great men got together in a brick building downtown and decided, you know what, they were going to part ways with King George, and they were going to forge not only their own path, but a new direction for this nation that was birthed in that building. And then, many years after that, the country that they conceived of was saved at Gettysburg, a little bit further away from here. But Pennsylvania has often been consequential in this nation's history, not only in its inception, but also its survival. So how beautiful would it be if come Tuesday, when we're all sitting at home, sweating it out, watching the returns, cringing every time Kamala wins a state, cheering every time Trump wins another, if it's Pennsylvania that puts him over the top. Pennsylvania, the state where some very evil people lurking in the shadows tried to kill this president, right? What a triumph it would be. What a storybook ending it would be, a fairy tale ending, if it's also the state that put him over the top and restored our republic and put us back on track. That's what I'm hoping for. I know that's what you're all working for. So let's make it happen. It's within your power. I can't vote here, right? I'm not a New Jersey Democrat. I only vote once in one place. I already voted in my state. I voted back in September for President Trump and the Republican ticket. You here in Pennsylvania, I came over, I knocked doors in Delaware County. You gotta take it from here over the next 48 hours. Early voting's done. You heard Dave McCormick. If you got one of those ballots, get it to where you need to get it. And if you don't have a vote by mail ballot, you need to show up. You need to stand in line, pack a lunch, as the saying goes, and do not get out of line, no matter what they tell you. The Trump team lawyers, the RNC lawyers, the Pennsylvania Republican Party, they're on it. But look, Donald Trump took a bullet to the ear. They're still trying to put him in jail. I think we've forgotten that point, right? Like, after this election, he's got a sentencing hearing in New York. They've tried to bankrupt him. They've tried to degrade him. They've tried to frame him. What haven't they done to this guy? And he should be on a yacht somewhere in the Mediterranean, surrounded by supermodels, being fed caviar. He didn't need this noise. But he's doing it because he feels strongly in saving this country and restoring this nation to what we all know it has been and what it could be. Again, I think the least we can do is be a little uncomfortable for a few hours in line, maybe wishing we were at home or had better access to a bathroom, but cast a ballot to make sure that he can complete the great work that he started. Just saying. Again, 855-839-1210. That's our number. Now, I mentioned our third guest of the evening. I promised that I would do some New Jersey coverage because I'm a New Jersey guy. And even though all the attention is rightly on Pennsylvania right now, we still have some very consequential contests on my side of the river. And one of them is happening in Washington Township. Even if you don't know Washington Township well because you're listening from elsewhere outside of South Jersey, I know if you're in Pennsylvania, you drive by it on the way to the Jersey Shore. It's a big old town with lots of former Philly residents. Many of them came over from the city many years ago. And it's right in the center of Gloucester County, which is a rare purple county in New Jersey. Donald Trump won Gloucester County in 2016 by a hair. He lost it by a hair in 2020. This is going to be one of the places on election night that I know I am going to be looking to see how he's performing, not just there, but nationally. If Donald Trump wins Gloucester County, he's going to be the next president of the United States. You heard it here first. And the man who's running for mayor in Washington Township, so this is a hugely consequential race with implications beyond just Gloucester County, is with me here in the studio tonight. He is a dedicated 26-year resident of Washington Township. He's made many contributions to the community, not just in politics, he is a councilman, but also in the private sector, serving the business community, his fellow residents. He, once again, and this is one of the themes of this evening, we spoke to Dave McCormick earlier, this is someone with real-world skills who could be doing something else where people wouldn't be saying nasty things about him and hurling insults at him and having his family degraded. He's doing this not because he can't find a better way to spend his day. He's doing this because he's passionate about his home, Washington Township, and he wants to do better for it and his residents. And his name is Anthony Delpia, and he joins me in the studio here on 1210 WPHT this evening. Anthony, welcome. Yeah, you can just talk into that mic.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks for having me.
It's free.
Okay.
It's free. It's gratis.
Honored to be here.
So if you believed some of what the Democrats were saying about you and your running mates and the Gloucester County Republican ticket this year, you guys are just awful people. You know, I should be sitting even further back from you right now, but I know you, I know your team, I know you're great guys, you do great work. It's local politics. We think the presidential contest is nasty. You should try local politics. It can really be quite grueling.
It's tough. I'm not a politician. Never was. I wasn't even into politics. Somebody came to me about 4 years ago, asked me to help out. At the time, I didn't like the way our town, where our town was heading, and I was always brought up to, be part of the solution. So I decided to run for council. Been there last 3 years. Was kind of left in the dark. Didn't know much. Learned on the job. I didn't like the way our community was going. I grew up in South Philadelphia. Like you said, a lot of people from Philadelphia moved to Jersey. I grew up in a little area called Grace Ferry, and we were a tight community. Like, we loved being we were proud to be a part of our community. And I feel like our town doesn't have that anymore. So that's kind of something I want to bring back. I want to bring the camaraderie back, the community back, where your community is your family. You take care of each other, you support each other, and you're happy to live there. And like you said too, I'm not doing this for me. I was the first one to move out there. My mom moved out after. My brothers, my niece and nephews lived there. I'm doing it for them so they could afford to live there. So my kids could afford to live there. I mean, for me to continue to live there. We're trying to control the spending and make it more desirable and more affordable to live.
Well, you hit the nail on the head there, because Washington Township and our part of the universe in South Jersey was kind of that quintessential suburb you move to achieve the American dream, right? Many of the people are originally from Philadelphia. Not that there's anything wrong with Philadelphia. Well, there's plenty wrong with Philadelphia. You know what I mean when I say that. Still plenty of lovely places. But, especially if you can dodge bullets and you happen to be quite quick on your feet. But you move to Washington Township because you want to achieve the American dream, right? You want that house on that leafy street, great community, great schools. And that's what it was for many years. But, for a number of reasons, that may be slipping away. And I don't think your opponent has the right ideas to take Washington Township forward. Arguably, she's been part of the problem for many years now.
Yeah, so we haven't had a mayor, Republican mayor, in almost 24 years.
Has it been that long?
Yes, 99, I believe. Mayor Luongo was the last Republican mayor.
24 years. Dan, how old are you?
24.
There you go. So Dan was born. Well, maybe there's some correlation there, but we'll explore that later. But so 24 years. Oh my God. Definitely time to shake it up.
Yeah, time to shake it up, and there's time to educate some people too. I don't think people understand what the council does, what the mayor does, what their duties are. We're a Faulkner Act town, which we're a strong mayor. We're made up of 5 council and a mayor. When we decided to run, we try to make a pact with my opponent and say, we have families. Let's run a campaign with honor, with integrity. Let's not go negative. I believe that how can I serve that seat with integrity and honor if I sell it along the way? If I lose it during the campaign and I do everything nasty, how can I serve that seat with honor when I just showed I didn't have it? So we kind of made that pact. My opponent didn't want to sign it, so we kind of left it up there. And they've taken some shots. They're blaming us as council for the bad budgets, which again, as council, we're the legislative branch. We don't do that side. She's the executive branch, is the mayor. She makes the budgets. She does the hiring. She does all the firing. And I think that the residents don't understand what our duties are, and that's why I decided to run for the other seat. Is it's almost what they say. Is the juice worth the squeeze? All the time and effort I put in, I feel like there's some other things I need to fix, and I need the other seat to do that.
So what are going to be your priorities if you're ultimately successful? And just so everybody knows, if you're still making your choice, and plenty of Gloucester County and Washington Township residents have already voted early like everyone else, but they're choosing between tonight's guest and Lori Burns. She's the latest Democrat mayor, 24-year history of Democrat mayors now, uninterrupted in Washington Township. What are some of the things that you want to do moving forward? They're going to be different from what the current regime has to offer.
I think we have to get creative, just like a business. We have to find ways to generate cash flow other than taxes. We can't just keep raising taxes. The control of the spending is always number one, but we've got to figure out a way to bring money in. We're a town of 51,000 residents, and we have zero solar. I believe our electrical bill is $100,000 a month. We have no solar in town. We should look into ways that we could generate cash flow other than taxes, and that's something that can help. Shared services. The school board is its own entity. The fire department, the library. We should be working with each other to try to keep money in our town. Each entity hires outside, where we can offer as a town something to the school, where they could offer something to us, and we can keep that money in town, and it could subsidize our shortfall, our taxes. And the other thing too is I think you just got to be very transparent. It's a lot easier to explain to somebody what you're doing as you're doing it than once they make their mind up of what you did, and then you try to convince them that's not what happened. So I think we need to have a big social media presence and make sure that the residents are involved. This is their town. I'm here to represent them and serve them. They should be a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, transparency is so important in local government because you're literally so close to the people, right? You may not be able to meet your congressman quite easily, but you can go to a council meeting. You can interact with your mayor and your members of town council. And so if they become inaccessible, it's easy to see how the wheels can quickly come off the cart in a community like Washington Township. In Washington Township, it's such prime real estate. It's a pretty town. You're literally in the middle of everything, right? You're a quick hop to Philly. You're a quick hop to the Jersey Shore. There's really no excuse to squander such fantastic real estate, but I guess that's what Washington Township is in danger of doing if it doesn't pick the right mayoral candidate this time around. And you've got running mates this year too, right?
Yeah, so Rich Bennett, who sits on council now, is running for re-election. And Joe Harris is running for the council seat that I'm vacating to run for mayor.
Fantastic. What's their background?
So Rich is a procurement manager for a retail company. And Joe Harris is a financial investor, construction guy as well.
So what this tells me is they're people that actually understand money, and it's just not play money for them like it is for some of these Democrats.
Yes.
I think that's so often the problem, right? Like they run for office and they think they're playing Monopoly. And to your point about just taxing your way out of everything, they assume that it's a bottomless pit of money. They've never actually had to serve in a financial capacity for a private business, and therefore understand that, hey, listen, these taxes have consequences. Taxes are destructive. And the more you tax businesses, the more you tax residents. They're not just going to sit there and take it on the chin forever. They're going to look elsewhere.
Especially when your friends and family are residents. I mean,
That's right.
I'm one of the residents. And, and I try to explain to people, when taxes go up, my taxes go up. I don't want my taxes to go up. I mean, I have 3 kids. I have 3 young kids. And, things are not cheap. You've been to the supermarket lately. I go Chick-fil-A, it's $70 for a family of 5. So, we have to control our spending. We got to make it more affordable for everybody, including myself. So, we can't just continue just to spend frivolously and just figure, well, we'll raise taxes next year again. But on the flip side, we can't not raise taxes and just to win an election and then put our township in financial trouble. And that's what we're dealing with now. The last couple of years, we had to raise taxes because the 7 years prior, our annual costs have gone up $9 million a year. And they didn't raise taxes because they wanted to win elections. And we use American Rescue Funds. We use our surplus. It's like living off an inheritance in your savings account for a couple of years. Well, eventually, it's gone. And then you're stuck with a big problem.
Look, we talk about the presidential contest, folks, but if you didn't know it already, you know it now. Oftentimes, these local races are the ones that have the greatest impact on your daily life, right? Whether it be leaf collection or whether or not you can afford to remain in your community. That's why races like this one are so important. Anthony Delpia, we really appreciate you coming into the studio tonight. We wish you the best of luck over the next 48 hours. Where can we find out more about you and your team?
WTTownshiptogether.com.
Awesome. Fantastic. Best of luck to you. Best of luck to your team in Washington Township. We were at the rally the other day. I spoke at it along with Nick Gale. The energy is incredible. So we know that people are ready for change. Here's hoping you get it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. You're listening to Matt Rooney on The Matt Rooney Show, steaming along in our third and final hour. Let's take a time out to pay some bills, because that's how we make money around here. We run commercials. We can't tax anybody. We're not Democrats. And then we'll be back with more in just a moment.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. One of the biggest, healthiest sales of the year is back again. Rescue Natural Supplements Black Friday sale is here. Right now, Rescue is slashing prices on every supplement with discounts up to an incredible 80% off. Rescue has a wide variety of products to address your health needs, including immunity and cholesterol support, heart health, and natural energy enhancers. Grab huge savings on omega-3s, probiotics, and a lot more. And one more thing, this Rescue Black Friday sale will run the entire month of November. So shop today at res-q.com, res-q.com, or call a Rescue product consultant at 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Again, all Rescue supplements are up to 80% off during the entire month of November, so why wait? Shop massive savings on essential supplements right now at res-q.com. Do it today.
Attention Medicaid patients.
If you're on Medicaid, how would you like if your caretaker was your daughter, your son, your grandchild, or your close friend? If you're on Medicaid, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care, and that caregiver will get paid instantly after their shift. Yes, your caregiver will get paid instantly, and it's 100% free to you if you are on Medicaid. Call 267-692-3782 and ask Freedom Care how to get started with care today. No more worrying about getting care from an aide at an agency. Freedom Care helps you choose who you want to take care of you, and that person gets paid. Call Freedom Care at 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782 to get started today. You get a caregiver you know and trust, and they get paid instantly after their shift, and it's free to you. Start now by calling 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782, or go to freedomcare.com.
Don't miss the Education Show with Dom Giordano every Sunday morning at 5:30. Find out how you can help your child or grandchild succeed. Sponsored by New Hope Academy.
California Psychics is America's most trusted psychic network. But don't take it from us. Take it from our customers.
You know, it was probably the best psychic reading I've ever had.
Thank you, California Psychics. You changed my opinion about getting a reading over the phone.
It was definitely worth it, and I would do it again in a second.
That's because at California Psychics, we only connect you with the best. In fact, we reject 98% of the psychics who apply to us. So we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20.
I've never had a phone call make me so excited for the future.
So experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Get $5 off with code RADIO5 when you download the app.
Free speech lives here with Rich Zioli weekday afternoons 3 till 7 on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
Of everything the media has freaked out about recently, their meltdown after Donald Trump's day on the job at McDonald's, right here in our listening area, I mean, that was epic. They're still twisted over that one. And guess what? It worked. The Daily Mail released a survey, or I should say the results of a survey over on the weekend. They worked with the pollster JL Partners. 37% of Americans don't believe that Harris worked at McDonald's. Another 21% are unsure. Only 42% think that she actually worked the fryer under those golden arches. Trump, man. Look, I've never been one of these voters for El Presidente.
She never did,
thinks
by
that he
the way.
does.
She never did.
Well, you know how we know she didn't?
The corporate McDonald's was like, we don't have any records of her. And then she also photoshopped her face on a dead woman's body to prove that she worked there, even though everyone called her out on a lie.
Here's how we know, too. And I think I said this on the program before, so apologies for repeating myself if you've heard this before. But Kamala Harris, for all of her faults, she's not an ugly person, right? She's a relatively attractive woman. Someone would have remembered working with her. Anyone that's ever had a summer job, you remember the pretty person or the attractive person you worked with. Not a single person's been able to come forward and say, oh, yeah, no, I had a summer job with Kamala Harris. Nobody? She made it up. And people caught on to it. And Trump brilliantly.
But everyone can remember the time that she was with Willie Brown. You know what I mean?
Well, Willie certainly remembers.
Oh, Willie remembers, but she doesn't remember any time that she's been at McDonald's flipping them, rev up those fryers, you know what I mean?
Yeah, bacon Willie's apple pie.
Ooh. That's yeah.
And see, look, this is why this stuff matters. Because I have a Republican friend that's one of the few that's not a big fan of the president that said, this is just a stunt. This is just a stunt. It wasn't a stunt. It wasn't a stunt. This president...
Part of it, yes. Part of it, no. Let me explain why it was a stunt.
Well, the fact that it was staged doesn't mean that it's a stunt. And stunt implies some sort of superficial, substantively bankrupt act just to get attention. He was making a substantive point.
Right. He's saying that anyone can do this job and that, it takes hard work and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he was showing that there is value in the type of work and there's value in the type of people that the Democrat Party is leaving behind. It's not the party of the working class anymore.
Right, but also the fact of they could have done it maybe not close down the McDonald's and maybe actually, I don't know, have a couple people there. I just think that they could have, actually got the whole experience. Now, if it was Chris Christie on the other hand, he would be eating all the fries. So, like...
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. There would be no apple pies. They would have found Fatty McThunder biscuits passed out under the ice cream machine.
Exactly.
He would have gotten it working.
Well, the ice cream machine's probably broken, so...
Oh, wait, hold on. Is that Governor Christie we have on the line?
Oh.
No.
Oh. It looked like him.
It sounded like him.
Yeah.
Sounded strangely like him. Yeah, no, it was a brilliant move, and it's paying dividends through the present. But to your point, Daniel, real quick, and then I know we're coming up on another break here. Keep this in mind. I get it. Having gone to a McDonald's that was open that day, right, might have been nice. This is a guy who's been shot once, and then somebody else tried to kill him at his golf course. So, just putting Donald Trump at a random McDonald's window with no security provisions, probably not a smart idea.
It's Bucks County.
But I hear you.
It's Bucks County.
Nothing bad happens in Bucks County, is that your point?
No, what happens in Bucks County?
New Hope, man, murder capital of the universe.
They're wealthy, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, nothing bad happens in New Hope.
Exactly.
Maybe you get gypped on an antique you bought at a store or something like that from a Harris voter.
Maybe you see bad play at the Playhouse, but that's about it.
Yeah, right. Oh, the horror.
Yeah.
All right. Well, steaming through here, folks, our third and final hour. But don't worry, we've got more show still ahead, including, much to my chagrin, Twit Talk.
It's tame today.
It's tame today?
Yeah, there's really not.
It's election focused, I'd imagine. Do we have a fact of the week?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll turn the reins over to Daniel. God help us here on the Matt Rooney Show.
Dawn Stensland here. My friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles feature the latest luxury vehicles from today's top brands. Mercedes-Benz, Jaguar, Land Rover, BMW, Porsche, Alfa Romeo, Maserati, and more. Sleek new designs and innovative features with thousands of new and certified pre-owned vehicles available across Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey. Piazza Premium Automobiles stands out. Visit PiazzaPremiumAutos.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-837-5050. That's 800-837-5050. 800-837-5050.
Philo's got a world of entertainment for you to explore with just one subscription. Sign up today and start watching all the networks you love, like A&E, MTV, Discovery, VH1, TLC, Lifetime, Hallmark Channel, and so much more. Featuring current seasons of all the best drama, true crime, reality, and family-friendly shows you can't afford to miss. And with up to 3 streams at once, you'll never have to fight about what to watch. Get started today and unlock our library of over 75,000 movies and shows, and save all your favorites with the unlimited DVR, so you can rewatch them anytime, anywhere, for up to a year. Philo now includes access to AMC+. You can discover your next obsession from its collection of hit originals like Mad Men, The Walking Dead, Killing Eve, Orphan Black, and tons of blockbuster movies. There are no contracts, no commitments, and no hassles. For just $28 a month, Philo's a better way to watch TV. So what are you waiting for? Visit philo.tv and sign up today to start your 7-day free trial. That's philo.tv.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, over 3 million people called Morgan & Morgan in their time of need. And with over 1 million of those calls coming from previous clients, friends, and family.
My name is Jason Williams. It was a rainy day, and I'd gotten hit from behind by a lady that was doing somewhere over 100 miles an hour is what they were saying. I've never dealt with anything like this before. Everybody that I talked to kept saying the same name, which was Morgan & Morgan. I was on hold for maybe 15 seconds. When they come back and said, Jason, we will absolutely take your case. As a non-tech savvy guy, any question that I had, if I called, text, or emailed, they got right back to me. They made it as easy for me as it could have been.
thank you for trusting us. We've become the largest injury firm in the world because we've won a lot. The word is out. Size matters. Reputation matters. We're America's largest injury law firm for a reason. With over 900 dedicated attorneys and climbing, we're ready wherever you are, whatever you need. The choice is easy. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you. Morgan & Morgan, official partner of the Philadelphia 76ers.
Hey girl, it's your new night guy, Jimmy Fallon in the house from 7 to 10 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and free on the Odyssey app.
While we were on air, final Rasmussen poll out of Wisconsin. Trump, 3 points ahead of Kamala Harris, 50-47. In the Senate race there, potential pickup for the GOP, tied. Things are getting spicy as Election Day approaches. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. Be sure to like. Someone asked earlier, is this election night coverage from 1210 going to be YouTube accessible? I don't know the answer to that. Ask Stalker tomorrow if you tune into Kale and Company at 6 a.m. I'm sure he'll have some answers. Or at least he's the only one that could potentially have answers. I don't know whether it's been figured out yet, but you can add us to our lineup. Listen, you could put on one of the cable news channels, but we all know how it goes. They just talk for hours and hours and hours, and occasionally someone makes a call on a state, and that's kind of fun and exciting. It's just a bunch of talking heads saying the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, but even when they call a state, it's not like anything, you don't get fireworks or anything. It's like, the former president has now won Arizona.
We can now project
that he has won the great state of Arizona. And they just go on to the next thing. So it's not like there's fireworks and fire that go on. It's just monotone.
Let's all go around the table and talk about it. Yeah. You're not going to get that on 1210. We're going to delve a little bit deeper.
And then they're like, oh, this is the worst thing for America because Donald Trump's going to destroy the state. It was once a great state, but it's not anymore. And then they're going to show montages of cities burning down and that woman from 2016 who was on her knees in the green jacket screaming.
No!
Yeah.
I really hope she makes a comeback for Inauguration Day, assuming Trump wins. Wherever she is, she might be in an asylum.
Yeah, I hope she's okay.
She's probably a trans cat at this point, right? Hanging out with Dan on Sexy Halloween, even though she ain't too sexy. I hope she makes a comeback and screams just
anything sexy when you're 3 sheets to the wind. You know what I mean?
Well, hey, listen, I don't know what you mean there, buddy boy. Hey, listen, it's almost Election Day. Why don't you educate us? Why don't you give us some knowledge here?
Sure.
This is your fact of the week.
Yeah. It's election themed.
Appropriately.
Do you remember the election of 1892 between Grover Cleveland and Benjamin Harrison?
Oh, yeah, I was there. Yeah.
Were you? That was the first election to use a voting machine.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And that was the election that Grover Cleveland won with the electoral vote of 277, and you needed 223 to win at that time.
Before then, all old-fashioned little ballot boxes.
Yeah.
You walk up, you put your piece of paper, and then they count it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah. There were 5 states, not a thing. Don't ask me what those states are because I can't. Arizona and Nevada are one.
Very insightful, Daniel.
Yeah.
Could almost be mistaken for thinking you care about all this.
I do. I care about the show. Not the election, but the show.
Well, the only thing we do know is that we'll probably be here on the other side of it.
Oh, no, we will be.
Probably.
I'll wake up on Wednesday and go to work, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, look, and we spend all of this time reminding people how consequential the election is, and it's true, but don't be one of those people, right? Because if you lose, you still got to pick yourself up and go on. Thanksgiving's coming up. You got to enjoy your friends and your family.
My life might be worse come January, but hey, the people voted for it. That's all I can do. I did my part, so I get up and go to work.
Well, what has ever been accomplished from despair, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't be that guy. Don't be that gal. I mean, I can assure you if Kamala Harris wins, I don't think it's happening. But if she does, I'm not showing up in a knit cap and a green track jacket and sitting on the floor screaming.
Might get a free TV, though.
Might get a free TV.
If they start looting and rioting, you might get a free TV.
Well, they have already. It's been reported they've already started to board up.
Oh, in
many of the
Washington,
businesses around Washington, D.C.
That means they know something. If she was going to win, they wouldn't board that up.
They'd certainly be less concerned about it.
Yeah.
Because let's keep in mind, contrary to what you've heard from some Vichy Republicans this cycle, it's Democrats that usually burn things down and commit violence when things don't go their way. It's a fine Democrat tradition that's been going on for decades, if not centuries. Now, it's what they do. They're children. All right. Moving along this evening. Actually, looking at the time here, I think we have to now begin the most deranged, inexcusable, I feel I need to apologize for it segment in all of radio. Otherwise, we're not going to get it in.
You love it.
Yeah. What's it
It's
called?
also a part of your idea as well.
Well, it was, but then you turned it into a Frankenstein monster.
Yeah.
You've whipped it and beat it beyond recognition.
Yeah, that's the point.
Well, why don't you just get on with it?
Hey guys, gather round. Gather round.
It's Twit Talk time.
Yay!
It's a little tame tonight. A lot of election stuff.
Got a grade on a curve, though, with Twit Talk, because
Yeah.
Twit Talk's usually pretty outrageous, so tame might not mean much.
It's tame. I promise you it's tame.
Just don't play anything that actually makes our ears bleed.
No,
like
you
last
won't.
week.
You won't. No.
Okay.
None of that. I want to start with a clip that I think is just hilarious. There's really not much of an audio standpoint to it. It's more of a video thing, but I'll try to describe it. Last week was Halloween, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Joe Biden Joe Biden dressed up. Joe Biden did not. I can't.
You're having trouble getting into this one.
Yeah, I saw it. Joe Biden went as a panda, and I think it is the funniest thing ever to walk out.
I saw the video.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah, here we go.
It was weird.
Here you go.
Please welcome the President of the United States and First Lady Jill Biden.
The worst part is,
I don't know why, but I absolutely love it.
well, because that like weird polka circus music is probably what's playing in Joe Biden's head 24/7. And you could just tell from the way he was walking, he had no idea that it was his wife. He thought it was an actual magical panda.
Just the way that she walked out and just the costume in general. I saw it and I saw, oh my gosh. Also, Rabble Rouser saying, just like Dan and Matt's sexual partners, I feel you'll be disappointed by the CA physics. Thanks.
Oh, man.
Whatever that means.
Dude, you're not helping your case.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know how it's just getting weird now.
Whatever. Let's go on another one. This is a Harvard Harris voter.
Oh, they have them there?
Yeah, they do.
I'm shocked.
I don't know.
Shocked, I tell you.
Don't know how to really explain it, but here we go.
If you were to vote for anybody in 2024, who is it going to be?
Kamala Harris.
Why is that?
Because I like having rights.
Having rights?
I'm gay, and I enjoy being able to marry who I want, be open about that at work. I'm also a woman. I take birth control. I like being able to do that.
And you feel as if you wouldn't be able to do that if Trump was in office?
Roe v. Wade fell, and they have been pretty open about their desires to come after other women's rights. Project 2025.
Is there any one specific policy that you really stand by when it comes to Harris?
Nothing specifically. I don't agree with, obviously, everything she stands for. I kind of tilt more left than she does, but it's kind of not about agreeing with everything that the candidate stands for. It's about it's about who you can push to, or who you can fight for, like who you can push the needle with in office.
And where are you from originally?
Western Mass, but I lived in North Carolina for a while, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see if your mind went where mine went. There's a lot of crazy things to unpack there. She's a lesbian.
Correct.
Right?
She's taking... Before you do anything, let me preface this and say I've gotten to about weeks-long TikTok beef and TikTok arguments because I commented something saying, like, help me understand this clip, and people went off on me. They're like, what do you mean you don't understand? I was like, wow, that joke whenever someone said, they're like, what do you mean? All this and all that. So I've gotten plenty of TikTok beef. Continue.
And that was legitimate beef, not a one-off thing like you have with Rabble Rouser.
That's correct.
Yeah, I was just going to make the point that I'm missing the part where she's a lesbian but needs birth control.
Right.
Yeah, that was my only point.
Yeah. And the fact...
How does that work?
That's what I wanted to understand. I don't know. If you're a lesbian, there's no... I mean, I don't know. I don't know much about birth control. I'm a guy. I don't take it.
I always get confused. So if you're a dude and you're pretending you're a woman, that you're a trans woman?
A woman? Say that one more time.
Like, does the trans modifier go in front of what you are now?
No.
So I'm a dude.
If you're going to, you'd be a trans woman because you're transitioning to a woman.
Right. So I get rid of my bait and tackle.
Right.
And now I'm pretending that I'm a woman, even though I still have an Adam's apple. Thank you for telling everybody what it was too, by the way. That was very helpful. And then I'm a trans woman. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Love is love, right, Dan? That's what you always say.
Yeah.
God. See, I've been saying this from the beginning, right? Because this is a Harvard-educated individual, right? Or they're receiving a Harvard education. They keep telling us that the Democrats have the educated people. And by that, they don't necessarily mean smart, obviously. They mean they have a degree, a postgraduate degree, or they're working on a postgraduate degree. But have you heard a single sane argument, a logical argument for Kamala Harris? It's either just emotive language, Trump's Hitler, Trump's a Nazi, Trump's this, Trump's that, or what we just heard a moment ago, someone who actually sounded, if you turned off your brain for a second, at least articulate, but the substantive policy rationale that she offered for voting for Kamala Harris is she needs birth control to avoid being knocked up by another woman.
So
these are the educated people in our country?
I have a source telling me that birth control is used for more than safe sex. Correct? Yes, no. Or you don't really know the answer.
Well, I mean, I guess there's like a female condom, but that's not really the context in which she was using it, right?
So my source says it can be used for like hormone balancing, pain management for cramps, acne, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but see, I get that. There's plenty of people that use the pill, for instance, for things that don't relate to sexual reproduction. But this young lady used it juxtaposed with her disclosure of what her sexuality was. Right?
Yeah, I think, well, in that context, yes, she was going, in that context, yes. But I think that there are more uses to a pill than just safe
But that's
sex.
quite clearly not what she was talking about.
Yes.
Yes.
Glad we're on the same page.
Right.
Okay. Do you want to continue?
No, but let's do it anyway.
Kamala Harris dropped a Halloween ad. Not sure if this aired anywhere, but the Harris HQ TikTok account posted it. Also, Rabble said Matt and Dan will get married and support Kamala Harris. Yes, we will. And we'll also get divorced and support Trump together, too. So
and we're not going to use birth control.
We're not going to use birth control. Anyway, this Halloween ad from Kamala HQ. Here we go.
Never before has there been such a danger to America. A creature with orange leathery skin looms in the shadow, coming to destroy democracy.
You're not going to be a dictator, are you? I said no, other than day one.
Raising prices for families.
100, 200, 2,000% tariff.
Spreading racist lies.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats.
Admiring dictators.
Able to deal with Putin and Kim Jong-un and all of the people the very fine people you have to deal with.
Don't believe us? Ask his own staff. Trump asked me to put him over my oath. Anyone who puts himself over the Constitution should never be president. God help us. A total fascist. This creature vies for total unchecked power. Vote Harris Walz to stop him.
Oh, my.
There you go.
This is more of a Gen Z-ism than my generation, but this is the cringiest campaign in the history of American presidential politics. On what planet would anyone think that would work? It's so weird and overly wordy and contrived. Look, here's the real problem. This is why in states like Pennsylvania, this whole Trump's a dictator, he's a fascist, he's going to turn us into Nazi Germany. This is why it's not working, because we've lived through 4 years of Trump, and none of that happened. None of it happened. The only violence we got during the Trump years was from radical leftist Antifa losers during the George Floyd riot. That's the only violence we had. We had less wars. We had a government that was less obtrusive in our lives, right? We had lower crime than we have today. We didn't have people like up in New York breaking into people's homes and taking their pet raccoon and their pet squirrel and euthanizing them for no reason, right? Like, none of this happened during Donald Trump. So a lot of people just don't believe it. And by the way, that's one of the reasons why all this, hey, Republicans are going to take away your right to choose and take away your birth control stuff might not work either, because guess what? None of that has happened the way they said it was going to happen. And people may be distracted, but they're not stupid. And I think maybe enough Americans get that. Just a hunch, Daniel.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Let's mix a fun one in here. Last week I played a clip of J.D. Vance on Theo Von's podcast. This is another clip of that.
Like, I had a minor surgery once, and like a very minor surgery, and I was prescribed OxyContin, and I took it for 12 hours.
Got any left? Sorry.
No.
There you go. Theo Von asking J.D. Vance if he has any OxyContin left.
Theo Von, man. One of the most influential voices in election 2024. What universe are we living in? Have you ever actually read or listened to the audiobook of Hillbilly Elegy, by the way?
No.
Yeah, you gotta make that happen. I will admit that even though I was aware of it, I never actually read it until he became the vice presidential nominee. Really good. And one of the things he talks about is addiction in his hometown and the effect it's had on middle Americans, specifically working class, poor Americans. Fascinating stuff. J.D. Vance has been through it. You know, I know Kamala's middle class, right? That's how she was born. She came from a town. People cared about their lawns. She doesn't have anything on J.D. Vance and his life experience.
Yeah.
Lay it on me.
Let's see here. Trump has a cover band. You know this?
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Mr. President, how is your international Led Zeppelin cover band set coming along?
Well, we spoke last night about Kashmir, and the Prime Minister really feels he has it under control.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah. Should we go back to... Let's do another fun one, shall we? Let's do another fun
Let's have fun.
So
the next 48 hours is going to be gut churning, so let's have some fun now while we can.
So this guy ranks things, and I think he's so funny. I don't know, he's Southern, but I don't know where he's from, but I just think he's so funny. There's a lot of bleeping in it. There's a lot of F-bombs that were dropped, but there was a lot of, they're bleeped, trust me.
All right, y'all, let's rank some more random flavors. What the orange mayo Pop-Tart? That's f***ing sick. That's an 8. Nobody gonna eat that. Chicken gravy Dr. Pepper? That's f***ing 1 right there. We drank the hell out of that. Is that doo-doo? Whoever the said I said is that doo-doo in a clip? I didn't, but I did now. That's probably chewy. I don't know. That's a 7. I don't like licorice. Spinach, Dr. Ugh, that probably tastes earthy, like dirt. That's a 9. What the That's sick. Imagine it's got chunks of meat floating in it. Ugh, that's a 10. That. Dill pickle cheer. I ain't eating that, but that probably ain't the worst thing ever. That's a 4. Celery and chocolate. That sounds disgusting, but I can't even be mad at it. The picture's so cute. That's a 3.
I can't even be mad at it.
What the Why would you ruin a perfectly good Snickers like that? That's sick. That's a 6. Strawberry garlic flavored nuts. Where do you get these from? That's a 5. I hate candy corn. That should have been a 10.
I find those hilarious.
Dill pickle Cheerios. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Who are these people?
I don't know, but
I'll tell you who they are. They're Americans that have the voting franchise and are going to decide who's the leader of the world's last true superpower.
Yeah.
May the Lord have mercy on our souls.
Yeah.
Oh, but can I address one thing real quick?
Yes.
Yeah, we booted Rabble Rouser here.
Yes, I did.
And he was getting fresh. I'll tell you why. I clicked it. He was getting fresh with Dan's mom.
Yeah, that's the reason why he was booted.
Yeah, that's you don't get fresh with Ms. Valdez. We generally are hands off here, laissez-faire with the chat, but we have our limits.
If you make fun of anyone in my family, you're booted.
And like Donald Trump, we protect women, right?
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody that listened tonight, everybody that watched. By the way, fight, 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 vote, vote, vote. We'll see you on the other side. Keep the faith.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff rallies for Vice President Kamala Harris at Sharon Baptist Church in West Philly. Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio campaigns in Delaware County. Thomas Jefferson University and Community College of Philadelphia partner up, offering academic opportunities and reduced tuition.
Get the latest anytime on KYW